Oh man, I really love Fridays. Favorite day of the week. I get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! For a few hours and just sort of relax, not have to worry about anything. What is that notification? Go away, Uber Eats, I hate you. It's been a good day. I got to work, I got home, made some, meat, stuff. I feel like I'm gonna have to redo... Yep, okay, groovy. It's this one. Let's see. I really don't want to have to do this. But it turns out that OBS hates whenever I stream Yu-Gi-Oh! On the GBA. It's like, why are you doing that, you silly bugger? Ooh, actually, that's the question. Now, what filters do I currently have on? Nope. Okay, so part of the opening part of my stream is going to be me fixing up the stream. Filters. Can I edit transform? Zero. Okay. 0. Okay, I kind of want to keep the bottom. Oh, I love it. But what this hypothetically does mean, and I'm gonna have to take the top off too. Just start with that. 45. Come on. Let's see. Hang on, what does the... Okay, so that's the bottom of the screen, which means I need to decrease. And you know what? I'm gonna move it over slightly so it looks centered. Let's lock off that picture. Oh, jeez. I love this. Ba ba da ba. 0, 0. Oh, that almost looks decent. Move you over a little bit. Make it a smaller box, little box. Close, let's lock picture, let's lock this. Because, and the important thing to me is, I can have the window open, and I can see OBS in the background. And hopefully, that means I won't need my stream manager. Wow, it's been a whole 7 minutes. Wow, it's been 41 streams. Okay, the bed is for sleeping in. Let's go to sleep. Good night, cruel world. Yeah. Ooh, actually, ooh. Come on, don't screw up. Okay, hopefully. It's morning. Yes, of course it's morning. Hang on, I'm just gonna alternate between the screens. Cool. Oh my god. Today's the day of the tournament finals. Hey, Bardo, how's it going? How's work treating ya? Assuming you're at work. That's where you're normally at. Oh no, we've got to go to the... No. Okay. Yes, I am the Xenoblade. Maybe the real Xenoblade was the friends we made along the way. Neko, congrats on making the tournament finals. Yeah, Neko, I knew you'd make it. I can't wait to duel, ya. Awesome. I am literally not reading a word that they're saying. It's him! It's Roland! There can only be one winner, well, it's gotta be me. And I'll create a save state to prove it. Man, I really hope we win. Please go to the locker room, wait there. Prepare for your duel in the locker room. When you're ready to duel, call me. Is that the locker room? Covering another gem, which is less busier, so therefore easier. Awesome. I still don't have money. I don't know why I can't use a network machine. Yeah, I love it when work is just easy. Like at work today, we were just sort of waiting for things to happen, so there was quite a bit of sitting around, and I always love it when that happens. It's just a real shame that I didn't bring my Switch with me. There seems to be someone inside. Yeah, I would have been playing some like Metroid while I was waiting, but I completely forgot to bring my Switch. No, I tell a lie. In the this morning before I left for work, I was like, oh, I should bring my Switch with me and I'll just play it on the bus. And then I was like, nah, I can't be bothered playing it on the bus. Sure, let's duel Serenity. Because I already had my big boy water in my bag. Because I have like 1.5 liters bottles of water. because I don't like tap water. So my bag was already pretty packed, because it's not that big a bag, and I was like, I can't be bothered carrying my Switch, so I left it at home. All those words to tell a very short story of like, yeah, I couldn't be bothered carrying it, so I didn't play Metroid today, which is good, because that means I can play it on stream or figure something out. Sitting is the best job. What's cool about this job is overnight are pretty much dead, so we can work out and still get paid. Yeah, that'd be ideal. Yeah, just being able to work on yourself while also on the job is great. Oh, cool. Gonna have a co-host again tonight. No, this is fine. I also find it funny that with how my current screen is set up, like I'm reading stream chat just off of my computer when I've just got it on my phone on my lap, as I sit on my couch, becoming a potato. Yes, let us activate Royal Decree, my favorite trap card. Other thing, now that I'm not saying the pandemic is completely over, but like now that the situation's really getting under control, at least here in sort of the state I'm living in Australia, I should be motivated to, you know, come out of this hibernation and try and work on myself, because like I've been putting on weight as I just sort of sit around my apartment playing Lego, streaming, drinking, and all that. I'm sure I'll get there one day. I'm living that show Biggest Loser because I get money for losing weight. Yeah, but at least your life isn't broadcast for people on sort of network audiences to sort of feel better about themselves for doing nothing. But yeah, that's absolutely becoming like my life's philosophy. Like, if you could do something benefits yourself and makes you feel better, have a better quality of life, all that stuff, you should really grab onto that with both hands. Especially if you're afforded the opportunity to. I say that, I'm still not going to go for like a jog. What is it I said in Jack's stream yesterday? Like, if I had the power to be invisible, I'd actually go outside. Because I wouldn't risk running into people. And sort of that social... no one would see me, therefore I'd feel more comfortable in my skin. Kinda. Yeah. I really need to shake that. Your opponent's about to end their turn. Nope. True, I'll never be into reality TV. I don't get it. But it's really funny. A friend of mine will often just sit me down and have me watch like episodes of Married at First Sight, the Australian version. And I think I get more into the drama than she does. But not in like I feel better about myself, but like treating these humans as if they're like characters in a narrative and going like, ooh, I wonder what the next plot twist is gonna be. How exciting. That kind of thing. Like, I don't like reality TV, but I definitely understand people getting into it. Which is probably unfortunate. But here we are. You know, maybe Married at First Sight is actually a very interesting one, because it is people going onto this thing looking for an opportunity, and often they're portrayed as like really sympathetic, or they have so many like so much trauma that they're having to make public in order to form connections with people. That like I see that and I go, oh, there's actually some sort of touching stuff here. And that the idea of I guess making a parade out of them seems kind of disgusting. Like, in the last season of Married at First Sight, there was this radio disc jockey guy who came across as like an absolute cunt of a guy. That he was sort of portrayed as like the series antagonist, and everyone was just sort of like taking opportunities to really stir drama with him. And the person he was partnered with seemed like really not in a good place the longer she stayed with him. It was kind of ironic that like of all the couples, I think they're the ones that have definitely stayed together. Awesome, we got exact damage. And we're at 10,000 life points. Like, it was just kind of disgusting seeing sure wish it told me how these points were calculated. Just sort of seeing her in this relationship where she wasn't seen at every dinner party. She would be thrust into the middle of drama with this guy. And at the end of the series, it's revealed, like, yeah, he was a piece of shit, but everyone else was as well. Especially this one person who really sort of came into conflict with him. Like the real ringleader of the drama, I guess. No, I don't want to leave. Stop leaving. I want to go in there and duel people. Yeah, because at the end of the series, it's revealed that this person who keeps starting drama with this this couple has been sort of cheating on her partner as well. It was like, oh, wow. I'm just watching so many disgusting people when I wanted people to be happy. That's my prerogative in life. I just want people to be happy. Scissors. Scissors? Yes, we win. See, scissors, it never fails. I guess if I was to describe it like a diet, reality TV, specifically ones that like my friend shows me, are kind of like the cheat day. Of like, I'll fucking sit down and watch like a Chernobyl or Des, Trial of the Chicago 7, Social Network, just all these really cool sort of dramas and stuff. Really based in real life, really well written, well directed. I would go as far to say that these things are extraordinary works of art. But I also really like schlock. I love Marvel movies. They're not Chernobyl. This is gonna be fun. Let's activate. Let's look for details on Royal Decree. Controller, listen. I want people to be happy, but I also like laughing at others' misfortune. I'm an asshole. Oh, I do want people to be happy, but I absolutely empathize with that. Like, and that's the thing. Often I'll look at like other people's misfortune and like I'll see a funny side to it. Of like, isn't this really ironic? Obviously, usually, it really applies to people who I don't know, because I don't laugh at my friends' traumas. It's just like, distance and time are really what motivates tragedy to become comedy. And proximity is what motivates my controller to not respond in a prompt manner. Wow, Royal Decree really just screws up everyone. They're like, oh, we can't do anything. We can't set card. Oh, we can't activate trap cards. You've really blocked us. Also, sort of on the Jinzo might be my favorite monster ever. Yeah, I really like Jinzo. Got a ton of support a while ago, and I've been really tempted to play it on stream. I just haven't gotten around to it because I was busy with Ghost Tricks. And since I stopped that, I haven't known what to do. But going back to the whole, I just realized my audio isn't set up right. That would have been funny. I had my headphones in and I was like, why isn't the music coming through here? Okay, now everything should be... Oh fuck, hang on. User settings. Just realized if I got other people potentially coming on stream, I should probably fix up OBS from Discord from the other day. Again. Okay, cool. Cool. That's not the right screen. No, but there's a kind of catharsis in at least having dramas and comedies sort of focusing on like not traumatic but difficult situations, that it's like it offers you the space to really examine these ideas and go like, okay, how in real life did we respond to them, and sort of what can we learn, but also I don't think it's very good to focus on all the negatives and stuff in any situation. Just sort of in general, because like a year ago when my dad died, it took like an hour before like me and my brother were like cracking jokes again, and it's just, I think it comes down to like all throughout people's lives they're generally pretty funny, so you really want to continue to resonate with that idea of like we want to entertain people, we want to have some levity, we want to be guided through darker ideas, but with the reassuring hand of like, but it's gonna be okay, I guess. I don't know, I see a real value in entertainment and different mediums. I remember they made a tin that included Jinzo with several packs that had just come out. We call those Jinzo Tinzos. Yeah. Oh fuck, I miss how the old tins used to be. I miss the whole, it's a chase card, or just like an iconic monster and some random packs. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the random packs thing. I like how they're doing that, specifically nowadays, where like they'll take the most recent 4 or 5 core sets and some side packs, and just try and compile all like the best cards from those bits into a single a mega pack. And really just try to get like good value for money, I guess. But I genuinely miss like the whole Jinzo, Buster Blader, Dark Magician Girl tins. And I don't think they looked... I think they looked much better when it was like the Jinzo stuff, because you'd have the window where you'd see the card. I remember when they got to like, it was either GX or 5Ds. It was just like the tin was a box and it had a picture of the main card art, But I do like that window thing, just as like a consumer buying a product. I was like, yes, please, I would like to see the thing I'm getting, and it'd be like this. I guess it just looks cool. Which is kind of conflicting, because like I really like the designs of the last like 2 or 3 tins, which are like the golden sarcophagus from Duel Monsters. Like genuinely, that fucking slaps. The last 2, the Tin of Lost Memories and the Battle of Destiny, I think it's called. They're just based on the stone tablet from Battle City. The Priest Seto and Yugi, the God cards, the Dark Magician and the Blue Eyes, all the prophecy shit. I think that stuff is really cool. It's like tins used to be good. Then they had a period where they weren't as good, and now they're back to being really well-designed tins. Dude, the Goya Guardian tin was a shit when it came out. Me and my buddies went everywhere looking for those. Yeah, that's the same with the Gold Sark tins. Like, I remember how notoriously difficult they were to find when they came out, because it was just so good value for money for so many good cards. I just realized I could have used Man-Eater Bug and Princess of Tsurugi. Yeah, you know what? Actually, there's the criticism that I keep bringing up, and I've forgotten it this one time, but like, recently, and I say recently, it's like the last 2 tins, the Lost Memories and the Battles of whatever, they've taken out promo cards. Because, like, you would usually get, like, guaranteed promo cards, and they'd usually be, like, the card on the tin, a Blue Eyes or Dark Magician, probably, and just, like, some really good staples that sort of everyone needs. And the fact that these last 2 tins haven't had them has been like, well, I don't really want to buy them because every card is now randomized, but there's no concrete value to it. And that's not even saying that the cards in the tins are valuable, the guaranteed promos, that is. It's just, it'd be nice to have something concrete that, like, I can invest the, however much a tin is, I think it's like 45 at the moment, is the average price in Australia, and be like, well, at least I know I'm getting, Nibiru the Primal Being, or Dark Ruler No More. Do they do tournament-only cards still, like when Crush Card was big? I think they do. See, I'm not that big into the tournament scene, so I don't actually know, and we haven't had, like a YCS or Worlds, I think since 2019? So I don't actually know how prize cards work, or what the prize cards are generally. I just only hear about them when it's like, oh my god, this card's being reprinted. And I think it just comes down to, like, they're so exclusive, so most people aren't really using them, so you just don't hear about them. I think I hear more about, like, I like YCSs and stuff. They'll do, like, the side thing, where you can enter a tournament to win a giant card. Like an oversized jumbo card that you can, like, hang up in a poster. And fuck, those are really cool. Like, if look, there's 2 people viewing, and I know one of them's me and one of them's you, just thanks to stream management. But, like, if you ever encountered someone who had, like, a giant card of any of the Ghost Tricks, of which I think Dole and maybe one of the Xyz got that, just send them my way. I really want, like, a giant card. See, this is what consistency is. It's having Royal Decree every first turn. I'm amazing. Yeah, I'd really have to like just look up prize cards and stuff. I'm not an expert on that stuff. And I'm barely an expert on regular stuff. I've got a degree in art. I can tell you if painting's good or not. I was about as useful as I am to society. No, we're not gonna activate cards yet. No, okay, we're back on regular life points. That's fine. There's actually a thing, now that I'm sort of thinking about it, that like, if they were to do tournament prize cards, I don't think I would want them to be meta defining cards like Crush Card. I'd really want them to be like gimmick, really, I guess fun cards that retain their value because they're so elusive and not because if you play that card, it's like a free win button, or a tool that facilitates that. Like, imagine entering a tournament and the prize card was just like, I don't know what the rarity is. Let's say ultra rare or whatever, Ojama Black. Ghost Rare Ojama Black. I'd be like, fuck yeah, I would aim to win because that seems like the most, like, they're never gonna print that again. That's amazing. Yeah, do that. Do gimmick cards rather than Crush Card. Are you winning, son? Probably start having this drink before the ice melts. I wonder if we win this turn. Depends on what we draw. I wonder if we win this turn. 1-4. I think we do. And I think we're going to take out Serenity with the blue lady. That is all according to my brilliant plan. Another thing, I'd love a whole archetype surrounding the mystical elf. I reckon that'd be pretty neat. I don't know what you would do with it, but I am very nostalgic for that art. I'm nostalgic for most of the art, to be honest. That, like, if they were to print the Beaver Warrior archetype that I really want, or more Swordsman of Landstar, I'd be like really happy with that. And you know what? You can print that in a side set, and it can be worth like hundreds of dollars because of how Konami's pull rates for specific cards that are usually pivotal to certain sort of things is just completely messed up. There are a lot of great archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Absolutely. The issue, though, is how many of them have, like, received like consistent support, that they are still completely viable. And unfortunately, the number sort of goes down. Not to say that like an archetype with less support is lesser, because like I mean I play Ghost Tricks and they have a lot of support and they're still mediocre. But yeah, it's just wild like how you can print a few cards and they're busted. You can print a lot of cards, they're mediocre. Or you can print a lot of cards and it's busted. You can print a few cards and it's mediocre. So that spread, I just sort of wish they'd print like more cards and they just all be good. And they lift up basically every archetype to a point where like, no, I don't want to duel you again. You are boring. I also don't want to duel you. But I will. It's like I wish Yu-Gi-Oh was a sort of game where every deck. Shit, no, I went rock. No, oh, but I won, so it doesn't matter. Where you can pick up like any deck. Allure Queens is probably going to be my usual go-to example of just like it's 4 cards as an archetype. Give it something. The 4 cards don't even work. Like, it's a terrible deck. Be gone, bot. I love this power I hold. Which actually reminds me, Mako Tsunami, the freaky fish guy from Duel Monsters, he's getting a lot of support in an upcoming set. And I was watching a video while I was making hamburgers earlier, of which I still haven't cooked any because I literally couldn't be bothered cooking them up. So that's tomorrow for me. But also I had a hamburger for lunch today, so it was more just to like use up the ingredients and stuff, so I could start putting things in the freezer for much later. I could start handing out food to friends and family and be like, hey, it was cheaper to buy in bulk and make up. Unfortunately that's the world we live in. Hey. Yeah, I was just watching a deck playthrough of like the Mako stuff, and it seems pretty decent, but I wish that was the sort of level every deck was at. Who's your favorite duelist from the show? I think I like the cards Bakura used, even though he always sucked. This would have been like years ago now, but like I actually tried making a Bakura deck using a combination of like the Destiny board, the normal monsters he used in the anime, and he also got like some modern support, like a new Necrofear boss monster looking guy, and it's just kind of unfortunate that it doesn't really do much, but I really appreciate Bakura. I think he's awesome. I love anyone who progresses the main plot of Duel Monsters Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I hated Season 4. But favorite duelist. I don't know. It's really a toss-up between Joey and Kaiba for the original. But I really like Weevil. Well, no. I like the idea of Weevil. Like, he's the smartest motherfucker in the show. Like, he's like, oh, I'm entering this tournament, and there's a guy who has the win cards. He's got Exodia. How do I defeat it? I'll just chuck it in the water. That'll stop it. smartest motherfucker in the show. I really like the Pegasus with his tunes more than I like him with Relinquished. Even though I think Relinquished is very thematic to the Eye Millennium Eye has. I think the tunes do better for just his personality. Not even as like oh, he'll mess with people and he'll use like copycat monsters. I'm not a big fan of anyone in Season 4. Yeah, Season 4 is the biker gang, where they all got those dragons. See, I like the dragons in the actual game, but I don't like Season 5 just at all. Sorry, 4. Season 4. I love Season 5. The second half. I really like the Dawn of the Duel. That shit was neat. I don't know, I think I don't remember how Valen's armor cards worked in Season 4. To be able to say if I liked him. You know, maybe there's something in this, but like the Ishizu, Marek, Odeon, and just sort of everyone who's progressing the ancient Egyptian plot aside from Bakura is like really boring in the game. In duels, because like Marek's strategy, summon Winged Dragon of Ra. Odeon's strategy, summon the fake Winged Dragon of Ra. Ishizu's strategy, well, she was more testing Kaiba with mind powers than really dueling. But Bakura's the shit. It might actually just be Bakura, actually. Bakura might be my favorite duelist. No, but Kaiba. Oh, here's the thing, like, Kaiba's notorious for his blue eyes, but like, he's got a lot of other stuff that I argue probably is as iconic, but it really clashes with just the theming of a Blue Eyes deck. Like, if we could time travel and give Kaiba just make his deck not the battle locks, not Mystic Horsemen and all that. I think we miss out on something really special, but I also think that would really ascend him to be like our absolute favorite, because Blue Eyes is just so cool. Ultimate creature of destruction. Nope. Nope, it's just these two. Actually getting sick of it. No, not gonna do. Okay, let's just leave. I was just Kyber is cool, but sometimes he's annoyingly prideful. Like he loses to Yugi all the time and still thinks he's the best. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And it's something I would hold against him as a character, but I just really appreciate just sort of how extra he is. It's like a lot of characters around him sort of treat him as a joke. And like, what, you're actually gonna do this, Kaiba? But that's ridiculous. And maybe it's just like an adult reading on the character, but just like how over the top he is just, it comes back round from being like obnoxious and ridiculous to being really endearing. As like, no, maybe not actually. Maybe it just loops around back to like being fun and funny to watch. I don't think our deck's gonna get any better. Let's just... Who are you? No, I'm not Yugi's friend. Do I want to duel Mokuba? Might as well. I think it really comes down to, like, the sort of stuff he does. Like, he organizes a whole tournament, then when he loses that, he destroys the island that the finals were on to sort of erase that that place, that blemish on him. And yeah, that is motivated by, like, how prideful he is. But it's just so over the top that it's like, yep, that's Kaiba, and that's why we love him. He forms a duelist school in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, with each of the 3 houses being named after the Egyptian gods. And obviously, because he had Obelisk, Obelisk is like the elite house. The lowest house belongs to Slifer, which Yugi had. So that sort of rivalry still comes through. And it's just the fact that, like, Marek was, like, the villain, and he still places Ra as second to Slifer. It's just really funny to me. The Abridged series made me appreciate some of the lesser characters like Bandit Keith. Yeah, it's one of those things of, like, I keep flip-flopping whether the Abridged series makes me appreciate Rex and Weevil, or appreciate them less or more. Just because, as I keep saying, Weevil is the smartest motherfucker in the show. No, wait, what? What did that do? No, oh shit. But turning them into a parody of Beavis and Butthead, it just comes across as a bit tiring to me. I definitely appreciate Mako a bit more because of it. Bandit Keith, yeah. I'm not gonna do anything, but sure, let's activate Royal Decree. You know, Marek is another one that I flip-flop on with the Abridged series. Like, he's really boring in the main show, and I'm pretty sure that translates still to the Abridged series. It's just his dynamic with Bakura is played up a bit more, and I guess that's a bit funny, I guess. Oh, Bakura is absolutely possibly the highlight. No. Bakura and the relationship between Yugi and the Pharaoh, because the Abridged series is willing to take those swings. Crap, what other side characters are there? Espero was really funny. Arcana, the saw guy. Honestly, I would appreciate Weevil and Rex more if they wrote them better in Season 4. Like, they could have been great characters, but the writers just didn't do anything further after they lose. Oh yeah, the scene where Weevil has, like, he's dueling the Pharaoh, and he's got the fake soul card, and he's just like, ah, I've torn up Yugi's soul. That shit really slaps. Like, holy fuck, Weevil, you are a piece of shit. I think that's about as hard as the show ever went. I wouldn't say the show's ever really done much for Rex. Just in general. Like, he's very lackluster. No, I don't want to play you. I know, I'm yawning at the idea of trying to think of Rex Raptor as a character. Oh, I also don't think the abridged series really did much to make me like any of the season 4 characters. That's not just extending to it's not just Darts and his group. Like it's Sky and the dog, Rebecca's grandfather. Just don't give a shit about any of them. Who are we gonna give the sword to? Let's give it to the beautiful headhuntress. She uses swords, the other guy uses axes. But if we could open up the initial question of favorite duelist beyond duel monsters, which, to be fair, the question wasn't even posed that way. It just becomes more difficult then, because like I like a lot of the GX guys. Some of the 5Ds guys are cool. Zexel exists. Arctie's fine. And Vrains is... I still need to watch Vrains. Rex was portrayed as this great duelist at the start, but he always loses, so he's a joke of a character that even Joey defeats. That's the thing. And that is a localization issue, in my opinion, of like that tournament that Rex and Weevil are in the Japanese version, Joey entered it as well, but he obviously didn't make it that far. So with that knowledge, when he's able to beat Rex, like it feels like a real progression of like when you're home, you're sitting back and you're watching these pros and you think, oh man, I was so close to being on their level. But when you get to Duelist Kingdom and you're really out in the field and he's in a position where he's like been trading cards, he's been trying to strengthen up his deck, he's finally starting to learn to cover his weaknesses. They're like, oh man, Joey, you are a good character. Just want to tussle your hair and go, good job. You did good, kiddo. Joey's deck was horrible in the beginning. Yes, but it was iconic. Man, I love Joey's deck. I don't think I would have done that whole stream. Grandpa, the end of a recent stream, I don't remember which one it was, where we just compiled all of like Joey's cards into like a 60 card deck. If I didn't have a soft spot for his deck. And that's absolutely to do with the fact that like the Joey starter deck has to be like the first Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess product that I really owned and was my own. That like, man, and I've said this before on a stream, but like, if I could own all those cards again, back in their original printings, I would jump at it in a heartbeat. But I can't be bothered, and it costs too much money to just buy the deck. Did you ever see that YouTube video, Everything's Wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh? I think that's Civet videos, yeah? Done one for like every season. I distinctly remember season 5, he talked about like the animation quality going down. But those are good videos. Let's see, and I'd sort of love to see him continue with the later seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like GX, 5Ds, just keep going with it. But obviously that depends on like how passionate Civet is with the other generations. And I could absolutely respect as time going on, just going like, Zexel, don't really care for it. I actually think I might have been asked that question before. I also remember saying, like, I've been meaning to check out, like, other stuff on Civet's channel. Just because he does seem pretty entertaining, pretty in the know. What's the phrase? Has his finger on the pulse of, like, the public? Because I don't think he said anything really disagreeable in those videos. Okay, what are we doing? We are going to use the stop defense. I think he started GX, but the videos are really far and in between now. Right. Fair enough. Oh crap. Who is it? I literally do not remember her name. I think she was one of the artists for the Drawfee channel. I remember last year she was doing like these videos on characters from GX. He also does game reviews now, which are cool. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, like, because I haven't played most of the games that he's talked about, that's what's sort of stopping me from watching them. But I'd absolutely be down to, especially if it, like, I guess kickstarts some interest in other things. That's just the fate of YouTubers, though, I think, of, like, they've got to do that one thing that resonates specifically with you, and then you just sort of wean them on your channel. Be like, hey, we made a video on Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, I'll watch that. Oh, you also made a video on, fuck, I don't know, Berserk? I wouldn't watch a video on Berserk, but like, as an example, like, oh wow, there's other stuff that I'm only tangentially interested in. Sure, I'll check that out. Because the production quality of this video was a-okay. That sort of goes hand in hand with like my, I love learning. I will watch documentaries on the Chernobyl disaster. What of it? Oh no. And then I will just be recommended like Kyle Hill because science. Fuck, who's the channel that does just sort of covers not really just nuclear disasters, but just like disasters and stuff in general. I don't remember the channel name. But then there's stuff like the guy that did the Jack the Ripper video. That was really good. It's like more videos like that, please. And like they could be inaccurate, they could be over dramatized, but it still opens the door to learning things. I guess those are probably not great examples about my next statement, but like of things that people don't really know about. And it all hinges on like, are you gonna learn more about it? No? Okay. A jest. Learning and the desire to continue learning is like a superpower. I need to rewatch Chernobyl because it was so good I bought the Blu-rays. I barely buy physical movies and shows anymore. I still haven't. That's because I paid for it digitally because we don't have, what is it, HBO, I think, in Australia. And I think that's been rectified. I think we now have a streaming service, Binge, that has like partnered with HBO to get a lot of their stuff. Because that's how I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League earlier this year, on a free trial. And I remember seeing like Game of Thrones there, so I think Chernobyl might be on there. But I'm not paying for another streaming service. But yeah, I would definitely go out and buy Chernobyl Blu-rays, even though I don't have a Blu-ray player. Give me Ultra HD 4K Blu-rays. No, I'm not gonna do it. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna quickly nick to the bathroom, and then I will be back, and I will probably start the beginner's cup. Just to progress. I'll be back in a minute. That didn't take long. Funny, while I was out, I was just thinking, like, it's crazy that we live in the world where we have the Chernobyl miniseries, and what's really crazy about that is it was written by the guy who wrote Superhero Movie. Like, thinking about that, the craze of like scary movie, just parody movies, taking like, no, hang on, I don't want to do you again. All those concepts and like just doing the most popular thing with them, and parodying them, pointing out all the flaws and shit. But like Craig Mazin, he wrote Superhero Movie. I have no idea what he's written in between. But as far as my brain goes, it's like he wrote Superhero Movie, and that was fun, but no substance. And then he wrote Chernobyl, and it's no fun, but it's full of substance, full of emotion, full of like it is possibly like it's possibly my favorite 5 or 6 hours of video content in the world. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna fucking save before I enter this tournament. Save state. Cool. Just think, if they didn't make a mistake at Chernobyl, we wouldn't have a series about it. Yeah, so I've got to thank the Atlov's negligence. I've got to thank Fomin and Brukhanov for being sort of incompetent leaders. I've got to thank the grid controller in Kiev. I've got to thank the power structures that be in the Soviet Union, and just all these significant and compounding factors that led to the Chernobyl disaster, that I have my favorite piece of content. It is just so fucking good, and it pains me that Jack still hasn't seen it, and like every time he's asking for like recommendations, like, you should watch this, and it's like, but I'm not going to, unless I need to sit him down for that, and if I can do that in the next 2 weeks or so, before he leaves for the States, that'd be super. funny, I got a message from a friend saying, they are... Nope, it's not in there. They are on their way, they say. Scissors, awesome. Yeah, but I really wonder, just what that creative team are doing next. Climb to a chair like they did in that movie Clockwork Orange. I could. Oh, awesome! I've been paid a $2.50 refund to my account. See, I would, but the whole point of Clockwork Orange was to present him something distressing, in conjunction with something pleasurable, so that he would have the response of like this activity, this behavior, this thought and feeling that he once found pleasure in. It's now presented as horrible. Cognitive training, I think it would be called. Conditioning. No, yeah, it's just conditioning. That's the psychological term. Yeah, so I'm not going to do the Clockwork Orange, but I am down to just, you know, get him round to my flat and be like, oi, motherfucker, we're going to watch this. You're going to sit here for 6 hours, and then we're going to watch we're going to listen to the Chernobyl podcast on YouTube. And we're going to learn about how they did these things and just, like, extra details. No, we're not going to activate Rush recklessly. We need Royal Decree. No, I'm a fucking... Yeah, but that's definitely the thing that pains me the most. The fact that he hasn't seen it after me pestering him so much. And, like, I think it's definitely content that people should pay for. Because, no, that's... I don't think I'd go that far, but, like, if you were given the option to pay to see it, or not see it at all, definitely take the pay to see it, but, like, piracy's fine. It's fine. So, like, if he was to do that, I'd still be like, yeah, go, do it, just watch the fucking show. But that's the thing, he hasn't. You know, the more I think about it, actually, like, one of my friends is really into writing, and I always use, like, Chernobyl as, like, one of my examples of, like, a very well-written series telling, like, a human drama. It's got sort of an unconventional story structure to it, because it's trying to recount real events. And, like, if you look at the overall structure of the show, yeah, sure, it's got a beginning, middle, and end, but episodically, it doesn't really do that. You can only sometimes find, like, the act breaks, but it's more about progressing events rather than telling a cohesive thing. No, that's not... When I say cohesive, I mean, like, the end doesn't necessarily have to resolve things, and I think that's really powerful for an ongoing crisis. Even though we have the sarcophagus and we've got... oh shit. Ah, that's good. The sarcophagus and the new containment thing. I can't remember if it has a fun name. just talking about the show makes me go like, maybe after I finish streaming tonight, I'm just gonna put it on, and like, if I fall asleep to it, so what? I'll just wake up and rewind. The acting, Jared Harris and Stellan Skarsgård are fucking incredible at their craft. And like, if anything's gonna convince me to see Eternals, it's probably gonna actually have to be that Barry Keoghan's in that, who played Pavel in fuck, what's the episode? For the happiness of all mankind. With the Liquidators. Wait, hang on, yeah, I should probably rush recklessly into danger. No! Fuck! Wrong one! No, 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 no! Okay, you live to die another day. Barry Keoghan's playing Droog. Oh fuck, hang on, he's not playing Riddler, in, the Batman, is he? Who is he playing? It might be the Riddler. I think it's just really, really neat, that he seems to be doing quite a few roles, quite a few big budget films these days. Good for him. Just the story of Pavel, as a sort of youth thrust into that liquidating process. Oh fuck, that 90-second sequence on the roof. Oh fuck, I could watch that for hours. And genuinely, like, oh, it's one of those things of like, I don't know if I'd be able to use that as a resource for teaching, but I absolutely would, because like, it's fucking incredible. Just the tone of that scene, and the sort of journey you go on there. The fact that it's all in real time too, like, there's no camera trickery. There's no, like, it's not a Marvel movie where it's fucking we've got to have 9,000 cuts to show a single person like buttering a slice of bread. We don't need $10 million in CGI. It's just guys go on a roof, and sure, there might be some like set extensions going on, but like, it is so well integrated that if there is CGI in that scene, it's like you're not gonna notice. I mean, yeah, sorry, the reactor definitely, but it has a tangibility to it. When those guys have to go into the basement was so hard to watch, but so good at the same time. Yeah, the light going out is just like, if you are writing something and you want tension and you want that feeling of dread, it's like, yeah, that's what you gotta do. That's how you do it. Oh, it's such a good show. Oh, and Stellan Skarsgård's speech, like, you'll do it because you have to. No one else can. No, 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 we lost a monster. No, I hate this. Now you look like Minister Local. Even the miners are really fucking cool. Love those guys. Will my boys be taken care of? I don't know. It's great. In front of miners, be completely honest. His moment of honesty becomes a sort of honest betrayal. It's just really fucking good. Nick was like, alright, that's the stream, see you later. Here's the thing. I could just get my laptop, put my headphones in, and just watch it while still playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, like, I've seen it that many times that, like, I can multitask during it. I wouldn't want to, though. Like, holy shit. Man, 2019 was like a fucking baller year for films and TV shows. And I say that knowing that, like, the season finale, or the final season of Game of Thrones apparently wasn't very good. Star Wars Episode 9, I think, was dreadful. So we got some, like, big blows to sort of big media franchises. But there were so many, like, just really amazing single projects, like Chernobyl, like Marriage Story, Parasite, 1917, I think was 2019. If not, it was the start of 2020, but I'm going to count it as 2019. That film is also fucking amazing. What are some other examples? What else did we get? We got, I think Trial 2020 or 2019? I know how that is. I'll listen to shows I've seen while at work because I've seen it so many times. What else did we get in 2019? Oh, we got Toy Story 4. But we got Klaus. Klaus is the best animated film from that year, hands down. Genuinely, like, sure, Toy Story 4 is like a complete marvel in terms of, like, style. Hang on, what does Rocket Warrior do again? Okay, nothing. Cool. When he runs through the battlefield was so good. Oh, fuck yeah. So far, I think films of the last 2 years have been pretty mediocre. I think I'll just go back to 2019, thanks. Oh, we got Joker. Controversial film. I still think it is quite good. The part where he bumped into people was improv. It's gotta be. We got Jojo Rabbit as well. Really love that film. It's got a lot of heart to it. Just a premise of, like, oh, what if in the 1940s Hitler was this kid's best imaginary friend? It's like, wow, that's a really inventive premise, and it really speaks to how do you combat ideologies of hate? How do children respond to these things that are ever present in the society that they grow up in? And how do they critically examine those things and become sort of better people within these systems? It's like Jojo Rabbit's really fucking good. And fuck, what's his name? He played Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2, and it's not Mickey Rourke, it's the other guy. It is, I'll think of his name in a second, but like the second when at the end of the film when he's trying to save Jojo's life, and he's like, oh, you filthy Jew, get away from, oh, I will spit on you, I will kill you, just to save this kid, really speaks to the whole duality of humanity, of like, yeah, you can do some fucked up shit, but you could also have these moments of just unequivocal goodness. The pandemic probably didn't help filming at all. Actually, the pandemic really didn't help anyone except mask manufacturers. Absolutely. I fully accept that the pandemic has impacted entertainment production over the last 2 years. But eventually we're going to reach a point where we can't really blame that anymore. And I hope that we're actually just on like the tail end of that, as more people become vaccinated, as like Black Panther's the sequel, this week it was reported that it was shutting down production because Letitia Wright suffered an injury back on August, but she's also unvaccinated, so she can't come to the US to continue filming. And like, I quite like how strict the industry is becoming with health and safety on sets in the wake of this, just so they can keep operating. That it's becoming adaptable, it's becoming manageable at this stage, I believe. That we should be on like the end of that, or coming towards the end of that difficult period of like, well, we can't really produce anything in a sustainable way because it's such a stressful environment that anything could go pear-shaped at any moment. I don't know, I just like to think that as a society, we have the power to really take responsibility and become just more responsible for the situation and try to improve it. Oh no. It's not looking good. That's true. I feel like it's going to be people's excuse forever, but we've got to start countering that excuse. Yeah. Even at work they said no raise due to pandemic. It's like, fuck you guys. Yeah, but it's really the difference between, like, I think anyone working during the pandemic is owed a shit ton of money for just the service that they've done for society, to keep the world functioning and going on. Unfortunately, it's just not the system we're in, and I'm really sorry to say that. What to do? That the worker is undervalued for like the tremendous effort they put in. There's a difference between I guess, what are they called? Essential workers versus someone who sits down and writes a script. Like, if you can't write a script that is adaptive to the current environment, and rework the story, and find a way to tell your story in the current context, I sort of don't have sympathy for you, because you have every power to say, well, this scene only requires like 3 people. And is that a risk we're willing to take? Yeah, I guess. Is it a manageable risk? I guess. And that's been the issue with, like, at the start of the pandemic. Yeah, really complicated. You got to rewrite a lot of things. but we're now 2 years in, and I know I keep using Marvel movies as like my go-to production examples. That's probably just because I know them a bit better. But like these things are churned out very very quickly. I don't want to say efficiently, but like very quickly. That it is possible to correct things and make changes if you're willing to put in that money and time. But the fact that we're still getting things that are just sort of malformed is sort of frustrating. Was that Miyamoto quote, actually? Of like a delayed game can eventually be good, but a rushed product never can, or something like that. Just the idea of like, if you're creating something because you need to fill a time slot, rather than because you have that actual creative drive, you have that creative ambition, and you want to see that brought to life, you're just dooming yourself to mediocrity. Man, I love it when I say words. Oh, damn. Do you think the end of Infinity War would have been a good ending and we didn't need Endgame? I personally think Thanos just winning would have been more impactful. I think it would have been more impactful, but it wouldn't have been as cathartic, which at the end of the day is the sort of the ambition of superhero content overall. Because I'm not the sort of person to say that superheroes are meant for kids. I think they're meant for everyone. It's family entertainment. The idea of killing off like half of these characters that people are very attached to in a situation, in a smash and grab plot, a heist plot, with this sort of almost godly being, I don't think that's... No. I'm trying to pick my words carefully, because like I really like Infinity War, and I think Endgame drops the ball in a lot of places. But I think Endgame, where it works overall, the emotional stuff, is definitely the strongest stuff, and the stuff that really carries it as an ending to the MCU. I think Infinity War works on its own, and sure, Endgame only works because of Infinity War, but I feel like without Endgame, we're sort of missing something. And I think it's absolutely fine to believe Infinity War is the better ending, especially if you want to be able to just jump off that ride, or if you think that what we're getting is of a lesser quality, the sort of journey isn't worth it anymore. I don't know. I literally just think for all my issues with Endgame, like the whole Thor has depression and most of the time they're just cracking jokes about it. Hulk reconciled all of his core conflict in the MCU off screen. All of that stuff I would still take, because it also comes in the same film where we get Tony finally reaches a point of peace in his life, and he's dragged back into the conflict only to tell everyone that he cannot afford to lose the things that he's gotten through this, like his family, but he's still willing to lay down on a wire and let the other guys crawl over him, and give his life for the greater good. Like, that alone makes all the problems with Endgame absolutely worth it. And that's really just like ignoring the whole, like, I really like Hawkeye's sort of journey in the film. Like, I think it's completely natural for a sort of edgier character like Hawkeye, who loses his entire family, to start targeting people who he thinks didn't deserve to survive, because it raises a moral component of like, well, Thanos, you want to erase half of life, but are you sure you really want to do it randomly and that's fair? Like, I really understand his headspace, and I feel like it makes him and Black Widow going to Vormir to find the Soul Stone way more compelling as a drama, because at that point you don't really you don't get an idea of like who's gonna take the drop. Like, is it going to be Hawkeye for redemption, or is it going to be Black Widow because she has the stronger conviction? And it ends up being Black Widow, and I think that is still very powerful that it is, it has been her thing throughout the MCU, that the Avengers are her family, and she will do anything to get them back. Even in this film, she's still doing all the work because she believes she has nothing left, and that she's lost a significant part of her family. She's working to get them back. It's just really powerful. Black Widow is really well utilized throughout like the second half of the MCU, especially in the Russo stuff. Like, holy shit, they have done like so much for her as a character. It's just worked. I'm kind of mixed on the Cap stuff in the film, even though I still think it's really strong. And I love the fact that he gets to go back in time and have the happy ending. I think, obviously this isn't a really objective stance, because you can pick apart his whole going back in time. It's like, how does that work with the time travel? How does that work with Cap? You're growing up during these periods of time where you have so much knowledge, and yet you seem to not be doing anything to make the world a better place. It's like, yeah, you can absolutely pick holes in it, but just seeing Cap and Peggy together at the end, I am a very emotional person when it comes to films and entertainment, and like, yeah, I was crying at that. I was like, nah, you've definitely earned this ending. For a character who has never felt at home in the modern life, or the modern world, and he's becoming comfortable with the people, but he is still treated by those same people as like this monolithic being from another time, that like the only way he can rest is either through dying or giving up his life for the simpler thing that he thought he lost as of Age of Ultron. That's really, really neat. I like Cap. You can tell Endgame was pandering to fans. Yep. Pandering to fans, I think that's absolutely their intention, and I really can't blame them for it. As a fan, I felt pandered to, and I enjoyed it. I'm just a big fan of like the member berries stuff of like, hey, you've been watching for 23 films? Here, this one's for you. When I saw the scene with all the female heroes, I was like, okay. Yeah, the issue is it was the female heroes, but it wasn't the female hero, Black Widow, leading the charge. And that's why the scene in Infinity War where what is it? Scarlet Witch is in a ditch with the female bad guy, and the female bad guy's like, he'll die alone, as will you, and just you pan across and there's Black Widow going like, well, she's not alone, and it's the 3 female fighters on the battlefield coming together, and their camaraderie is what allows them to survive that fight. Like, that's way, way better than, them all rallying behind Captain Marvel of all fucking characters. And it's really a shame, because I like a lot of those characters. I really like Mantis. Just for that scene in Guardians 2 where, like, she puts her hand on Drax and she feels the tremendous weight of what he's dealing with. Really like Scarlet Witch. I really like Wasp. Possibly for more superficial reasons, but that's just because I like the aesthetic of the Ant-Man side of the MCU. I think it's neat. I don't really like I like Captain Marvel in concept, but execution's just been piss poor. Who were the other people that were in that scene? Oh, why the fuck was Pepper Potts in that scene? And I get that that's a really weird criticism, but like, really, why? Why was Pepper there? Join just it's okay, I'm getting to the other thing you said in a second. I wish the Black Widow movie had more substance. Absolutely. I've discussed this with some friends to hell and back, of like, it actually kind of breaks Black Widow's character throughout the second half of the MCU, of like, hang on. Hello. Hang on, I'm just gonna raise the volume. How are you?
Yeah, good. Busy day.
Yeah, well, I can imagine.
How's the stream going?
So far so good. I'm talking about the MCU and my voice is going dry. I need some water.
Yeah.
Just because, like, the last chat message from regular Bardo has been like, they wish Black Widow had more substance, and I'm just going through sort of references now of like, yeah, Black Widow's character is just done because she commits to killing a child, and yeah, like her mission to join S.H.I.E.L.D. is to kill Dreykov, the leader of the Red Room, but the only way she confirms that Dreykov is in that building that she blows up is because she sees Dreykov's daughter go into that building, rather than seeing Dreykov himself. So what she's doing is she's deciding to kill a child on the off chance that it means Dreykov dies, then confirming that Dreykov does die in that.
Right. So it's
it's very difficult to like a character after they kill a child.
Yeah, isn't that? I don't know if we're doing spoilers here, but yeah.
No, everything's fair game.
Bones copycat. I forget their name.
Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, she becomes Taskmaster after being horribly mutilated in the explosion and not even dying. And the fact that she doesn't die and she becomes Taskmaster is literally meant to be like, oh, see, Black Widow, you are absolved of killing a child because the child isn't actually dead. As if that makes a difference. She still commits to the action. And it's very hard to
Yeah.
say that any of her actions throughout the rest of the MCU, with now that knowledge, really make up for it.
Yeah, and what I've heard is that because Taskmaster is the child, you would think there'd be some kind of emotional, yeah, why did you make that choice?
Yeah, the
But
issue
it's kind
is,
of like,
um,
nah.
well, that's the thing. Like, if I was to say the film, well, if there's any substance in the film, it's really just got to be like to do with bodily autonomy for women, and the fact that it's being removed, whether it's through surgery, through mind control magic bullshit, and all the sort of psychology stuff that the Red Room does to people.
Yeah,
And it's like, these are trained assassins who don't have the autonomy to decide to become that and be that, who are taken as children and molded into these things.
yeah,
Like, that stuff in the film, it's very shallow, but it is there. And I think that's the most substance
sure.
the film has. But yeah, it's really just not enough. It's not really
Yeah,
enough to then go, hang on, what am I doing in the game? It's not enough to be about autonomy, and also once Dreykov dies, not give Dreykov's daughter really any scenes where she expresses feelings or whatever.
yeah,
She expresses anything, really. The most you get is Black Widow saying, "I'm sorry." And I think, because I've only seen the film once, we do see Taskmaster with a mask off do some sort of emotional face, but the emotional weight in that scene isn't put on Taskmaster's daughter, Taskmaster. It's put on Black Widow. So we don't know shit about Taskmaster, essentially.
yeah.
And she's not a character; she's a plot device.
Yeah, I always think of that Thanos scene as Savage Books talks about with the villain at rest, where it's like Thanos is just talking to Gamora.
Right.
And it's not. Yeah, you got all these scenes of him being threatening, but it's the scene where he just sits down and Gamora's like,
On the
I hate
steps.
this place. And he's like, oh, but I was saving you. And you get his goal, you get his motivation, you get his like
Ooh.
emotional core. He's like, in the speech to Doctor Strange, like solidifies that. But it's seeming like a frequently common mistake now to not. Maybe it's always been in bad films, but like to not give the villain their. It doesn't have to be heartfelt, just their moment
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, we get what they're about.
Yeah.
Like even with Vulture in Spider-Man
Oh,
Homecoming.
Vulture's amazing.
Yeah, and there are scenes with him and the other guys, like him and his
His team.
evil leg.
Yeah.
There's not necessarily a scene where he sits down and goes, "I'm the Vulture because,
Yeah, well,
I need
that's what
need
that first scene, with the
yeah,
damage control, it just solidifies
he
everything that he does throughout the film.
Yeah. But see, for me, it's that scene where Spider-Man finds out he's the father of the girl he's dating.
Yep.
Like, you've already humanized Spider-Man, and you humanize the girl he's with, even though love interest not the deepest character.
Yeah.
But young girl he's been trying to protect and save. You then get the villain who's like, I'm trying to make money for my family. You then find out that's his family. You're like, oh, well, we care about his daughter because Spider-Man cares about his daughter.
Mm.
So by extension, if Vulture cares about his daughter, oh, well, now we care about Vulture. Like, it's this connected empathy. And it's becoming a trope now that all villains have to be empathetic, which isn't necessarily true. But then you get like to use the classic villains in like Disney stuff. Like
Jafar.
Ursula, for example, just has the big villain song. Like you just need that one moment of, oh sorry, even those little clips where she goes, "I want King Triton's trident," and like Ariel seems the best way to do it. You just see her watching over her, being like, "Oh, this is the best plan." So it just can be little things, but little consistent things that make a villain a person who wants stuff.
Yeah, my
And
favorite, probably.
Taskmaster is just, yeah.
No, keep going.
No, just that she's
Taskmaster lacks one.
It's the same, yeah. It's the same vibe as what's her name from Dark Knight Rises. Like Bane is meant to be the main threat.
What,
We've seen
Ra's
him
al
the whole
Ghul?
way through. Yeah, but Miranda Tate, Talia al Ghul.
Oh.
Where it's like Bane's meant to be the big threat. He's meant to be. He's the one who's been threatening Batman the entire time, directly and actively.
Yeah.
Like, no, she's the villain, and you're like, what do we know about her?
She's the daughter of the guy. What's his name?
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul. But he never mentioned. Well, he mentioned during the first one like I had a family, but it's not like Vulture where we know his daughter directly and we've been trying to rescue her. It's just, oh yeah, she's totally related to him. Never saw them together, never saw him actually do anything for her or with her, and it's just kind of all disconnected for that. She's just kind of a plot device at the end of the day. Yeah, you were saying.
One of my favorites has got to be like Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. And that's still a really gorgeous film. But just like her whole thing is like she's evil and she wasn't invited to a party, and I'm just like, yeah, you go, Queen. You curse that child.
Yeah.
That's what you get for not inviting the mistress of evil.
I think that's why, like, say, even the evil queen from Snow White.
Yeah, it's one-dimensional, but it's really powerful because of the performance and the portrayal.
And now that I think about it, I'm like, actually, it's that she's willing to go that extra mile. Like the fact that she is like, I want beauty above all, and then is like, I'm willing to make myself like this creepy hag just to go kill her.
Yeah,
like, that's commitment. And so like that, like I love Lady Tremaine from Cinderella.
Yep.
Purely because there's that one scene.
The scene with the eyes.
And she's just like, do them again. It's like, oh, yeah. I find Cinderella, the original Disney version, underrated, purely because of how like terrifying Lady Tremaine is.
Yeah, because I think everyone focuses on the whole, no, you shouldn't wait for a prince, you shouldn't wait for a happy ending to find you, when that's really not the point of the film. And also, it's a film for kids. I don't think we need to critique the moral fortitude of it, when it's teaching just a very simple lesson of like, hope is sometimes alright.
Yeah,
and it's not like she is holding out for a hero. Like she's, she commits to action. She's snarky sometimes. She understands her position in this family dynamic, or this household.
She's a very good character. Like she's protecting the mice.
Yeah,
she's getting everything done. Given how much
she doesn't resign herself to just being the maid. She does have wants.
Yeah. She finds as the version with Whitney Houston in it. I think I'm thinking of the wrong person.
I have no idea.
Yeah, there's a Cinderella film with Whitney Houston in it, and there's a song in it called My Little Corner, where it's basically Cinderella being like, I know my family abuses me, I know I've got nowhere to go, but when they're out, when I'm alone, I get a small piece of peace to myself. And I see that in the original Cinderella. It's like she does, you know, the what's the song where the bubbles are going around? I feel bad for not knowing it because it's like the centerpiece of the film, but it's like that's her thing. Like she's cleaning, she doesn't want to be there, she doesn't want to be doing it, but she finds a way to just give peace to herself. And hope and wait. And it's like, sure, she's waiting for good to come to her instead of making it. She makes it as much as she can, but she's in an abusive household. She only has so much wiggle room.
Yeah, and it's like,
the
what actions are you expecting her to commit to? Like, okay, so run away, where to? Kill her stepsisters and her stepmother. Okay, this is a kid's film, can't do that.
And that's even the idea that her stepmother steps in to save her. Her stepmother gives her one night of happiness, not an actual freedom escape.
Yeah.
She, with one opportunity, it's like someone coming to someone who's down on their luck
and gives
saying,
them like a tenner.
Yeah, but or gives them a place to stay for a night and says, look, I'm gonna give you this room for a month, and I just hope you're able to use it and do something with it. I can't, you can't stay here forever. We can't afford it, but just please go and find a way to
use this as a springboard to try and improve.
Yeah. She doesn't. The fairy godmother doesn't come in and go, "You're free." She's like, "Hey, I can give you the dress, I can give you the shoes, but once you're there, you have time with the prince because you want it." Yeah.
But there's still conflict in the film of like, well, she doesn't reveal who she is. The only thing the prince has to go on is a shoe, and it could hypothetically fit anyone.
Yeah. And even if it only fits her, like, magically,
he still has to find her. And they're putting obstacles in the way.
Yeah, like she's locked in the room. Everyone's like, "Oh, the mice save her." It's like, well, yeah, the mice who she saved earlier, she was kind to someone. They returned the favor. It's like just kind, hope, and karma. Like, yeah. I don't know. To me, it's a really good message, and I think we've gotten caught up in Cinderella should do more to save herself.
Yeah,
sure, Sleeping Beauty should climb out of the tower, but you can't climb out unless you got something to climb down.
Isn't that Rapunzel that was in the tower? Sleeping Beauty's the one that pricks her finger on the spindle.
Oh, right, yeah.
I was like, yeah, Sleeping Beauty, you comatose woman, climb out of that tower. I'm sure you'll make it.
For some reason, I was thinking Sleeping Beauty was Rapunzel. I was like, they're both in
fair
a tower.
enough.
I got the... Yeah, but they can't because one's sleeping. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because Entangled does Rapunzel. I keep thinking there's two versions of that. But yeah, it's kind of that. She does so much good in that film. And Lady Tremaine is horrible. And I find that a good balance between protagonist and antagonist.
Yeah. Because it's the hero-villain dynamic in like its most raw form. That's great.
Yeah. It's the same, I find. Maybe I'm just a defender for a lot of the Disney originals. But the same way when people are like, oh, Ariel messes up so much and then just gets out of it. And I'm like, no, Ariel sacrifices everything for what she wants to prove that she can be her own independent person. Goes too far with it, almost loses everything, and then the guy she met that she wooed with no voice, she lost her greatest strength. She was the only thing he knows about her, and she, on her own personality, brings him back on board. Despite the fact he's in love with the cursed lady, like she's got the necklace.
Yeah, but we attribute that to just magic.
Yeah. He's magically compelled to walk away from her. And she could have been so heartbroken like the original Hans Christian Andersen that she just goes back to the ocean, gives up. But she's like, wait a second, it's the witch, I gotta go do something. So she still does active things. And sure, it's Prince Eric who saves her at the end of the day. That's not necessarily... Like,
I wouldn't even criticize that. I'd say that's just, it's kind of a convention of the sort of story they're telling. Of like both characters have something that they do in the finale, and his was just ramming a boat into the sea witch.
And that's true. Like he wanted to find Ariel again. It wasn't just like he's generic. I mean, he is. I guess he is kind of generic, but
He's probably, like, aside from like Aladdin and fuck, who's the other one that I'm thinking of? He's probably one of the less generic ones.
yeah, because we see him on the boat at the start saying like, you know, I saw this girl. I thought mermaids exist. And the other guy's gone, yeah, sure, mermaids exist. So like we know he wants to meet one, and so falls in love with Ariel, not knowing she is one. And then when he finds out, he's like, right, time to ram this boat into her. But I look at the scene at the end where Triton gives Ariel her legs. And again, like metaphorically, to give someone their legs is like, Triton has been actually more of an antagonist than Ursula, in the sense that he drove Ariel to Ursula in the first place. So it's very clearly stated, Triton's like, oh man, I've been fighting this the entire time, but look how far she went. Like, no, it's not, hey Ariel, yeah, do that every time. It's just like, hey Ariel, you don't get punished by going back home. It's clear you're miserable. So it's a father going, I give up. I get it.
Yeah,
Like,
recognizing sometimes everyone has to leave the nest.
yeah.
Like it's there's the action conflict that I understand the male protagonist being involved in, because that's just a trope of the time.
Yeah.
And then there's the actual conflict of the film. Yeah, exactly. It's fine, and I still don't really like The Little Mermaid, but I can at least appreciate that.
Yeah. And sure, like it's a trope for the time, especially in Snow White, where like,
well, I say no. Hang on. I say trope for the time with Little Mermaid, and I recognize there's like a 60-year gap between Little Mermaid and Snow White.
I keep forgetting that because I keep forgetting.
Okay,
Snow White
instead
was
of
like
trope,
19.
I'm gonna say it's a convention of the sort of Disney fairy tale stories, and it's changed since like Rapunzel and Frozen, but that's really been it. Of like, you have your female lead for the emotional conflict, you have your male lead for the daring adventures, and that's fine.
It's great that they switch the roles. I find it's just when it's retroactively going, hey, these older films, they
weren't progressive enough.
Yeah, and it's, well, even if it was to, like, you know, they're trying to remake them now and say that the main heroine should be the one driving all the story. But what they end up doing is forgetting that all the other characters are characters.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can't do Little Mermaid. You could do Little Mermaid where she does.
They're doing another Little Mermaid. They're doing the live action. I'm pretty sure Melissa McCarthy is Ursula.
In concept, you can't do Little Mermaid where King Triton just kind of sits by and goes, oh well, figure yourself out. Like,
I reckon they're going to turn him into the actual villain.
Which would be alright, but like, yeah, there's a point where...
A villain without redemption, though.
Yeah. Yeah, where it's like, if you make Triton just an abusive father, he kind of rules the Seven Seas. Like, you can say, hey, Ursula's the villain, we defeated her, now power goes back to the guy in charge. But if you kill Triton, kind of the whole sea's dies. Like, that just doesn't work out plot-wise. Like, you are kind of stuck there. It's slightly, although I don't have the issue with it, it's slightly like the Wizard of Oz in the Miss Gulch wants Toto for legal reasons.
Is that her name?
It's kind of like, well, yeah, you can't, yeah, I think so. Miss Gulch? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it's...
Well,
yeah,
I'm not going to fact check it.
That character has too much power for the situation you want them in. If you want to make someone the ultimate bad guy, maybe... unless you're doing like a Brandon Sanderson defeating the Dark Overlord kind of thing, don't make your big ruler of the Seven Seas the villain who you have to kill. There's going to be way too much for you to unpack there.
Yeah, fair enough. Hmm. I feel like I was going to say something earlier, and now I'm really struggling to remember what it was. But it was around the time we were talking about Thanos.
I think I was just saying that yeah, giving villains their moment.
Right. So I still haven't seen Eternals. And I kind of want to. I kind of can't be bothered. I might wait for it to be on Disney Plus if I don't bother going to a cinema. But apparently, one of the implications in the films is that so Thanos' plan of erasing half of all life. What would you say motivated him to that decision? What's his reason for wanting to erase half of all life?
As he stated, it was because he lost his home planet and said that if they had wiped out half of all life, then they would have survived.
Right.
So he wanted to
So
prove a point.
it's inherently tied to resources, and he wanted to prove a point. Well,
Yeah.
in Eternals, did you see the message that Violet put in the chat of like, oh, it might have been the other day when we were talking, but it borrows a lot from like the ego plot of Guardians 2 of like there's a seed.
He said or something.
Yeah, there's a seed in the Earth, or in planets that develops over time based on whether life is on that planet and thriving. So like the more life there is, the more nourished that seed is, that eventually it'll reach a point where a celestial is able to emerge from that seed. And the Eternals film now suggests that Thanos' plan wasn't for ecological reasons. It was he was halving life so those seeds would be less nourished and the Celestials wouldn't emerge. Thus implying that his planet wasn't ruined by a lack of resources. It was ruined by it was overpopulated and a Celestial emerged, destroying his planet.
This is how bad feedback ruins films. Because it's like, clearly somewhere along the line, I mean, maybe, I'm not saying exactly what they did, because it's more likely they just went, Thanos is the biggest thing we have, we need to somehow...
Yeah, we need to tie everything to him.
But it's also like, since Infinity War, it's very clear some people went, oh, but Thanos' plan makes no sense, because that's a bad way to get resources. Why wouldn't you snap your fingers and get more resources if it's basically a magic wish?
Here's the thing.
It's like, he's a mad titan who's deranged, and even Gamora says, you don't know that, and he's like, oh no, I'm convinced. Like, I'm the only one who knows that. Can't talk me out of it. Like, he's just arrogant. That's it.
Yeah.
And then by Endgame, it was like, oh, well, yeah, actually, he only said that because he's cruel, and really, he couldn't care less.
That's the thing. I
everybody, and it's like, but that was his golden motivation. Like, you can't just switch that out.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I'm appreciating the revert of sort of Thanos in Endgame a little bit more, in that like it underneath the benign I'm searching for the Infinity Stones so I can do my plan of erasing life more, I guess, graciously, more efficiently. He is still a what's the word? Maniacal. Yeah, he's a megalomaniac, basically. Like, underneath that benign persona that he puts on in Infinity War, now that he's an enlightened individual, he still has that very cruel thing to him. That he just wants to be proven right. He just wants the respect, the acknowledgement that he is the one willing to save all of life, even though he's fucked up. And so reverting to Warlord in Endgame, especially with his plan at the end of like, okay, well, if half of all life isn't good enough, I'm going to erase all life and start again. It doesn't feel as conflicty anymore with what we got in Infinity War, in my mind at least.
I find like yes, I have seen where there's the angle of like it's still what he wanted to do. He just kind of like yeah he dropped that facade, and I think that's what the Russos were trying to
Yeah.
present. I find where it's wonky for me is like and this is the thing with the Russos. I'm always going like I have a little critical thing of that, but I actually do get what they were trying to do. Like I'm kind of like I appreciate it more than I feel like if I'd seen someone else do it, I might have just gone, "What are you doing?" Whereas with the
Hmm.
Russos, I'm like, "Ah, man, I see what they were doing there. That's actually pretty clever." However, um, it's for me, it's yeah, for me, it's really wonky because they spent so much of Infinity War making it that was the crux of his argument. Like if the crux of his argument was, um, people didn't believe me, um, or people thought I was just a warmonger, but I killed to save or something like that. Fair enough, but it was because his exact example was I told my planet we should wipe
Yeah.
out half. They didn't believe me. It seems to me he was more caught up in making that point
Hmm.
than just a point. So
Yeah.
in the warmonger aspect makes sense of like him going, ah, well, if you're gonna fight me on it, I'll just make it worse. But he knows he'll win. Like that they show in Endgame that he knows he wins. And then seeing the Avengers reverse it all, if Thanos
Yeah.
is really certain of his own fate, which he is shown to be in both films, then why would he ever change his plan? Because surely if he's that confident and that sure of himself, he'd just be like, well, I'll just do it again and again. You've wasted your time. You couldn't live with your failure, and where did it lead you? Back to lead. Like, he doesn't think for a second that he's ever going to lose. So why would he ever change his plan to make sure that they don't fight him again? What does he have to fear by being fought again?
They have the
He
stones.
feels to win. Yeah, it's. I think that's where it's wonky for me. It's
Well,
like he changes his plan
he
so it
does.
works better.
No,
But what does he care if it
he
works
doesn't
better?
change his plan. He goes in to try and stop them from undoing his plan. Um, like, all of that stuff still happened as far as Thanos is aware, and as far as all of them are aware, actually. Sorry, I've been drinking. I think I'm just losing my point as I'm trying to speak.
Oh, that's all
What is it I'm trying to say? Oh shit, I've got a lot of Kaiba points.
right.
But like his, I guess he's shown that he wins, and he's trying to preserve that victory. But I think it comes down to he just doesn't understand how time travel works in the MCU, which is a very ridiculous statement to have because I don't even understand how it works in the MCU anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the
But
part of
like,
that though is like, yeah. Sorry, yeah. What are you saying?
if he is from a different world, a different universe, even, um, uh, he wouldn't know that them undoing his plan in their universe would mean that his plan is still pretty much golden in his universe
Yeah.
until he reaches that point. And even then, it's like, well, just because it happens in their universe doesn't mean it's going to happen in yours, kinda.
Yeah. I guess like, the example is given
So like
that
he's
he wins.
interceding in he's involving himself in a version of events where he won and there are people trying to stop him from winning,
Yeah.
or trying to undo his victory that he's now seen, which makes him feel vindicated, that he's reverting back to his cruelty just to stop these people.
Yeah. Well, that's where yeah. If he's doing it just to be spiteful, I get that. Whereas I read it as he was doing it to make sure they couldn't reverse it.
Yeah.
Which he wouldn't need to fear. If he couldn't care less if they reversed it, because he'll just do the plan again. Like,
Well, the thing is,
it's only
when he
because
arrives, they've
Destiny
already
is-
undone it. He just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. But it's like, yeah, I guess for me, it's like Infinity War shows how much he's caught up on Destiny, and then Endgame doubles down on that by saying That
Destiny
even when he sees
fulfilled.
himself die, he's like, yeah, that's fine, because I'll win. I know I'll win. I've always known I'll win. He's already seen it visually in Endgame. But in Infinity War, he's operating on the total assumption that he is destined to win. So I guess it's just like, as someone who thinks his plan will always work, it's weird for him to ever change plans.
Yeah.
I get why he's like, hey, you know what, this time, if you're going to fight me, I'm going to spite you all, and I'm just going to double down on it. But I guess for me, it's like that spite goes against his philosophy. Like, sure, it seems like the Russos kind of go, oh, well, he didn't really have that philosophy.
Yeah,
but
because
that
he's from an
philosophy
earlier point in time. Like, he hasn't lost
Yeah,
Gamora at that point. I find it really amusing that we
yeah,
all hinge, like, Thanos' competency, on whether he's a philosopher or a dickhead, on just, like, has Gamora left him or not?
well, but even before Gamora leaves him, like the literal first scene is him saying, "Destiny arrives, and here I am," or something like that. Yeah, run from it, dread it. Destiny still arrives.
All the same,
Or
and now
another
it's
way.
here, or should I say, I am.
Yeah, so I guess for me, it's like our first introduction to him, and the consistent factor is that he sees himself as a guaranteed
Yeah,
success.
he's a force
And
of
the thing he
nature.
wants to prove
No,
his
he's
success
just a force,
is,
he's not of nature.
yeah, but I guess, yeah, it's the backstory plus the perspective. It's his point of view combined with the motivation he's doing it for. So if he comes in saying, I'm destined to win, and then says, you know why I think I'm destined to win? It's because I said, here's the plan, and they said, you're wrong. I'm now going to do the plan and show you I'm destined to win. It's then super weird to me for him to go, all right, forget the plan. I'm still destined to win, but I agree with you, that plan won't work. So here's what I'm going to do. And it's kind of like, yeah, hang on. Yeah, your entire character is founded in your arrogance for this plan.
I find it
Yeah, I don't know.
I find it kind of amusing that, like, a year ago, my thought process was like, well, clearly, based on Endgame, that must mean that, like, there are two versions of the MCU happening concurrently. There's the one where Thanos in 2014 travels to 2023 Earth, and fucks shit up. And then there's the version where 2014 Thanos sees what happens to 2019 Thanos and continues down his path without going to 2019, which leads him to become Infinity War Thanos with the Destiny Arise bullcrap. It's really convoluted. Like, Endgame really screws with the MCU. And don't get me wrong, I love Endgame. But, like, it's like the Day of the Doctor. It's like trying to make sense of it and from whose perspective and, like, what time is happening. It's just really difficult.
Yeah.
And I can use that as a reference these days because I recently rewatched some interviews with Stephen Moffat.
Yeah, which ones?
It was like when he was leaving in 2017, the Doctor Who fan show on YouTube, on the official Doctor Who YouTube channel, like a 3-part interview. The first one was on like his tenure under Russell. The second one was Matt Smith and that era. And the third one was the Capaldi era. And I think it was in the second one he discussed like the Day of the Doctor is impossible to track because so much is going on.
Is that the one? I think I've seen those.
It's with the woman with the short hair on the couch opposite him. Yeah.
Yeah. The one where he admits, I think, that he didn't have anyone tied on except Clara.
Yep. And it's like, oh, Clara's great. She's my personal favorite.
I think it was, Full Fat and JXE both cited those videos.
Yeah, because that's where they got the clip. If you want to destroy nice things, Chris, you can.
Yeah. That's what you've got to know as a creator. Like, watch out. Like, because I know that it sounds like Davies, Moffat, and Chibnall all seem to be really close, really like each other. But like when you're saying things like that, like, if you want to ruin the show, go ahead. Like, you gotta know what fans are gonna do with that. Like,
I mean, he was talking about the TARDIS.
Yeah, Yeah,
But like, if you were to remove the specific context, yeah, it's just a very funny quote. It's like the, oh, it's a bit the same, just running up and down corridors.
yeah,
As
it's
like
those
these
vague.
really prophetic sayings.
Yeah, yeah.
How did we get here? I keep asking myself.
Yeah, but I enjoy the interviews with Moffat.
I
There's the
enjoy
one
them a
where
lot more now.
yeah, I think that makes a difference. Like we've now got that hindsight filter.
Yeah.
Like I said, with any error, it's like when the error is the one that's on, we're all more critical of it because it's what represents the show for newcomers to come in. And also, like when the newcomers come in, we want them to have the best example possible. Not just because I know every season maybe gets new people in, but I think what we're concerned about is because the show has been cancelled before, there's this sense of, oh, new people come in, but are they getting the right sense of the show? Or are they just seeing some other show that it's like for a season? And then they're going to leave again, and then the show
Yeah.
will be cancelled.
Yeah, it's like...
Or are they coming and going, this sucks, and then leaving, and then the show cancelled?
That's the thing. The people who come into the show just because, like, female doctor, if the next doctor is a man, are they gonna leave the show? And then what do we learn from that?
Yeah. But then vice versa, like if the next doctor is female, are
they gonna
other
stick
fans
around?
go, oh, not again, I'm sick of this. Like that's the trick. It's like you've got to balance whatever on what's Doctor Who is very hard to write for at the end of the day. And that's I think the difference. Like, yeah, it's one of those shows that it's got to be silly, it's got to be serious, it's got to be emotionally heartfelt, it's got to be cheesy, it's got to be something that older fans can enjoy after watching it for like 50 to 60 years. It's got to be something the newcomers can come in with having no idea what the show is. It's got to appeal to kids because that's what it's ultimately actually for. It's got to have
No, it's family. My favorite quote from like the Fourth Doctor's era behind the scenes was like the showrunner at the time saying, well, no, it's not designed for kids because it's not produced by the children's department of the BBC, the children's entertainment. Yeah. It's produced by the drama department, so it's for families. It's for everyone. Yeah. So the idea that the show has to appeal just to kids, like I get the idea, but that's not how it works in reality.
Yeah. I guess what I mean is like you gotta blend all these.
That's like saying superhero stuff is just for kids. It's really not. Yeah. Because that's so limiting.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. What was I saying? Yeah, because I mean, yeah.
It just has to be so much at the same time.
Because I think about an episode like Dark Water where people are like, wow, this is really dark. For like.
It's really fucked up, Moffat, that you said, oh, people can still feel being cremated.
Yeah.
Why did you say that, Moffat?
Like, I do rebel against the idea that if something's for kids, it has to be super light and super empty.
Yeah, but there is a point where, like, it's distressing.
Yeah, and I think that's the weird balance. It's like, you'll have an episode like Love and Monsters where people are like, this is too silly. And it's like, well, where is the line of too silly in Doctor Who?
Well, it's Love and Monsters.
Yeah, but that's the challenge. It's
I think you've answered the question.
I find too silly as the farty monsters. Like when I first watched the show, I did have that thing of I watched Eccleston. I thought the first few episodes were decent. I love the first episode a lot more now than I did when I first watched it because I was like, oh yeah, these.
I like bits of it.
Yeah, I think it was the monsters that really mostly had me going, this looks average. And then I think the farting aliens come before the Dalek episode.
Yeah, it's right before.
And I remember saying to friends who introduced me to it, like, I'm not sure about this. And they're like, no, keep going. It's the first season. I was like, all right, I'll give it the first season.
Got teething
and then
problems.
I hit Dalek. Like, I'm in. Dalek is great. I'm in. I understand what the show is now.
Imagine following Dalek up with the long game.
Yeah. But I think that's all it took. Like, it just took, and it's all it's ever been for Doctor Who. I've always said it, a lot of it is either just fun filler adventures, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you just need that one golden episode per season, and I'm sticking around.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Dial. It's, yeah.
Well, that's possibly like an interesting thing of, now that I think about it, is like, in 2 seasons in a row, Moffat has dealt with the idea of the idea of afterlife, and I'm not saying like the great beyond post life, but like the experience of something after life ends, I guess. And like it's really interesting how he goes from something really distressing from like Dark Water to something really cathartic and like thematically powerful with Heaven Sent. And it's like,
it's also...
Moffat, what did you learn in the last year?
Well, it's also, to me, like, now looking back at Capaldi's era, I notice how many finales, or all of them, are about death. Like, the Dark Water is that Clara's boyfriend dies, and then season 9 mostly is actually just Clara's gonna die, and then you've got Capaldi gives finally lets go of Clara after, I know there's a lot of problems with Hellbent, but now watching it back as like a 4-parter, and it's weird looking at it like that, but Heaven Sent, Capaldi is trying to grieve over Clara. Then Hellbent, he's like, no, I deny this. Like, I'm bringing her back, and Clara's like, this is too far. You realize what you're doing here? He's like, I just fought through the confession dial to do this. Like, what else do I have? And then there's the memorial on her TARDIS. Clara goes. It's this nice, like, sure, Clara died too many times. It loosens the impact, but it's like,
I mean, that
Clara
was her one gimmick.
Yeah, and that's like, it both sums up her run, but also sums up why she annoyed us for 3 seasons. But like, he lets her go. The next episode is him letting go of River, and then I think the 4th episode, despite the Night of Mysterio being the only episode we had that season, problem.
There's so much good stuff in that, particularly at the end of like everyone dies and it's always sad, but we then move on and we come back to a sense of normality.
Yeah.
As like that's a really if Heaven Sent says like, oh, the worst thing about dying is the days that follow. Dr. Mysterio is really about like emerging from all that.
Yeah, and I find like that's what I'm looking at 4 episodes of, and then even with season 10, like I was always thinking to myself,
season 10 is like a fucking thesis statement.
Yeah, and I've always felt like, how does Bill dying sum up her season? And then I thought about it more, and I'm actually like, wait a second, the Capaldi loses everybody. Then, like, the Master and Missy kill each other. The Doctor feels like he's lost everything, even though Missy did turn good. He's like, oh, I thought there'd be stars when he's dying. Then Bill is saved. Then you got the Memories episode, the next episode. And during that thing of, like, he sees the memories of all the people he's lost, he's refusing to die himself. And then says, you know what, I've remembered who I was, and I'm good to go. I'm gonna regenerate and try again. So I'm like, not to read into Moffat's life, but like, what happened that he spent the entire Capaldi era going, this guy is just gonna increasingly, his companion's gonna lose someone, then he's gonna lose his companion, then he's gonna finally give up River, then he's gonna accept that, he's gonna start anew, then he's gonna lose all of them, including his best friend he's known for years, and then he's gonna deny dying himself, and then there's this whole, like, there's this whole death theme running through Capaldi's entire era. And I never noticed that because of all the clunky stuff in between.
And that's literally been the most amazing thing of the past, like, few weeks, of just, like, hearing your thoughts on like season 9 and whatever, and the other day when we were discussing with like Violet, like her growing appreciation for the Capaldi era, it's like I feel very vindicated that like these are things that I've been saying all along, and finally people are agreeing with me.
Whereas like I was so mad at Hellbent the first time round for like I was absolutely sick of Clara coming back.
Oh yeah, and I'm not seriously defending Hellbent, like it's still got its issues, but there is still stuff within there.
And it's things like that, like the This Is My Spoon episode with the
Robots of Sherwood.
I remember when I watched that, I was like, it's fine. And then I've seen people go like, oh, it's a bit cheesy. It doesn't really, Moffat's overuse of everyone's a fairy tale, and I'm like, yeah, but it's done nice. Like it fits the theme of the season, and I think, hang on, which season is it?
It's season 8.
I'm not sure.
It's the season 8 where everything was like a single episode. So unfortunately, we get stuff like Kill the Moon and Forest of the Night.
Yeah.
But we also get stuff like Mummy on the Orient Express and Flatline, which are fucking amazing.
And which is interesting, because I'm seeing a lot of backlash for Season 8 now, whereas I remember when Season 8 came out, I was seeing posters that said, like, new Doctor Who, 5 stars. Like,
well, yeah.
Thing to be loved.
I think people appreciated that it was sort of like a return to just sort of fun episodic adventures that weren't interrupted mid-season. It was a fresh new Doctor with a new sort of perspective on these stories. And that's all fine and good, but like Into the Dalek isn't particularly good. The Robots of Sherwood isn't very good. Listen was really good.
See, Listen's the one I remember is there was the thing under the bed that Capaldi was like, don't look at it. And then I was like, well, what was it? And I remember feeling disappointed just because I felt like that never got resolved.
Right, ignoring that was the point.
Yeah. It was meant to be this creepy thing you never see.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, oh, I thought that was a setup for something. Yeah, and it's stuff like that where I think the first time around you're watching it going,
here's the thing, like, it was a setup, but it was also completely paid off in the episode of like so at the end of the episode we go back in time to Gallifrey, where Clara reaches her hand out from under a bed and grabs the Doctor's foot, and that's what leads him to later on be fearful of things under the bed.
Right.
So like the stuff earlier on in the episode is influenced by the stuff at the end of the episode. It's a wibbly wobbly, timey, fun shit.
Yeah. And I think that's the kind of thing, like I noticed that, but I didn't fully get the connection of what the thing was. I was like, wait, does that mean it was Clara's? I mean, it was the Doctor's? I mean, like...
It was Clara under the bed in the orphanage.
Right, yeah, she's under the bed, but... Yeah,
no, it's like maybe under every bed is a Clara, unfortunately. She's a menace.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe for me it's Clara is the problem, then it's like, it keeps being like, and then it was Clara doing that. It's like, she's everywhere now. Yeah, but I don't know.
She's so everywhere that people think that the Weeping Angel lady from episode 1 of Flux is Clara. Her name's Claire, it's not the same.
It's close enough. Yeah, it's and I think that's what I mean though, is like when we're in the middle of it. I remember even with season 10, I was like, I'm really excited for this. We had that the monk 3-parter.
Yeah, Veritas was good.
Like I think that's the thing. When I rewatch it, I go, these are really good. Like the conversation with him and Bill going, don't do that. You always tell me a joke and try to distract. And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna go save you. And she's like, yeah, you're gonna save me, right? But tell me a joke first. And he doesn't. And she's like,
yeah, Oxygen is fucking good. I love Oxygen.
Yeah, but it's like when you're watching it, it's like there is, in some ways we do analyze them too much. We're sitting there going, what is this for? What is this leading to? And we don't know because we can't see the forest for the trees.
I could. But you guys didn't believe me.
Yeah, I think it's just like, it's sometimes we just get caught up, like with the
Yeah,
vault. We figured out it was Missy or the
Missy right
mask.
away, yeah.
Yeah, but then like rewatching it, it's like, well, sure. Now that we do know that for certain, we're not sitting there going, "Is it though?" Like we're not focused on that, and we can actually enjoy the episodes. Sometimes you just grab onto the wrong thing and get the wrong message, and it's
Yeah,
only once you know the full picture that you're like, "Oh, right, I totally misunderstood that." Um, like with season 10's finale, the first time around, I was so mad that Bill got killed, and I was citing that the Doctor fake regenerated earlier in the season, and that just ruined it for me. I was like, Capaldi is so horrible. This character is so inconsistent, and Bill should be traumatized, and now she's dead, and he promised he would save her, and Missy got her killed, and then on rewatch, I'm like, oh, Missy never planned for any of that. That's the Doctor's fault for trust. It wasn't even his fault for trusting Missy. It was
yeah,
just
because it
something
was
that,
someone else, yeah.
yeah, and he didn't promise Bill he would save her. She said, promise me you won't get me killed, and he said, I can't promise you that, and then she agreed anyway. So it's like, oh yeah, the context is totally different when I'm not mad at Capaldi for several episodes ago.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah.
I still think the biggest travesty in World Enough in Time and The Doctor Falls has got to be the fact that the BBC revealed John Sims' master was returning.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
everything else, I think is pretty damn solid. Like
And even
his fucking line of like, just be kind. Who I
Yeah.
am is where I stand is where I fall. Like, we can criticize Moffat to high hell. Fucking hell, he can write dialogue.
And the weird thing is, the first time I heard that dialogue, I thought to myself, oh, that's just
It's a bit silly.
typical Doctor Who dialogue. Like, yeah, he's like, oh, yeah. But then only once I knew the end, well, once I knew the end of the episode, I was like, oh, so everyone dies? Well, that just makes Capaldi look incompetent. What is this? And then again on rewatch, I'm like, oh right, he's making a speech about how they're at war, and there's only so much he can do. And he promised Bill, he didn't promise Bill. He was like, look, I can't fully protect anyone, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And then when Bill's like, did you actually find out how to save me? He's like, no, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I can only do as much as I can. And then he's literally saying to Missy and the Master, he's like, look, I've been trying to get you to be better. I've been trying. I tried to help. I tried to, like, it's not necessarily an incompetence. It is just he is doing the best he can, but Missy and the Master just have his number.
he has hope in people, and people
They're letting him down.
yeah, and it's really down to what is it? Just the conflicts that these other people are having around him. Like it's fucking a stroke of genius to have that the sort of arc for the second half of season 10 be like the Doctor's trying to rehabilitate Missy, and then have her come into contact with a previous version of the Master who encompasses all of the bad habits of the character.
Yeah.
Just to see like how far she's gone, and then how devastating it is that she can't help him.
Yeah. Like, and that's exactly it. Like, again, the first time I'm only seeing it in the moment and thinking, what? So Missy doesn't even stand with the Doctor? Like, was that awful? But it's like, no, that's the tragedy of it.
Yeah.
And she was going to stand with him, and he never knew that. And he's looking up at the stars going, yeah, I did all this, and what was it for? I thought...
Yeah, I don't even get stars.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, man, if only he knew. Like,
yeah,
Bill survived.
That is, yeah.
His hope actually ran out. Ran out in the good way, like, rang true. Just, he didn't get to see it because it's stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel now. It's like I was so stuck in the middle of it that I missed the beauty of it.
Yeah, without witness, without reward.
Yeah.
It's a shame the rest of his run. No, I'm just kidding.
The problem is, like, with his... I misread his regeneration the first time as well. In that, at the end of that episode, where he goes, I'll always remember where he goes, I don't want to go. I'll always remember when the Doctor was me. And I went, oh, because I didn't know at that point he was going to not regenerate. So I thought he was just replicating all the other doctors. And was like, Moffat, come on, give him his own regeneration.
Well,
And
that's the thing.
Hindsight was it like, oh, that wasn't it. He was just having a trip up as he was regenerating, and then went, no, sorry, it wasn't even that he was regenerating. He was remembering who he was and going, yeah, no, I want to stay me now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, we know now, thanks to interviews, that Moffat was planning to leave in the season finale, and Chris Chibnall was meant to do the Christmas special, and he only delayed his plans because Chris didn't want the Christmas special. Which is really depressing because Moffat fought for that spot to remain, and Chibnall just But we won't get into that. But it makes me wonder. Like, I don't think the episode would work without the random outburst of like not wanting to change. Like if we were to instead, I don't know, you'd probably have to fit in like a whole other scene of like the Doctor and the TARDIS, like sort of arguing, the TARDIS beep booping back at him until he realizes how childish he's being, and then he gets his regeneration speech from the 2 Doctor episode.
Yeah.
But like, you could play that as like he regenerates in the Doctor Falls, and it's just a really forceful, resentful regeneration, and presumably the arc of Jodie's era would be, I guess, almost in spite of that. Like, you don't want to continue, but you're gonna keep going on.
Yeah.
That kind of through line.
Yeah.
But that's obviously not what we got. So the whole last Capaldi episode was really just trying to make him more comfortable with that.
Yeah,
what am I
and
doing?
you can kind of see that last minute change.
Yeah.
In the same way with
and I don't begrudge it.
Yeah, and it's the same with Clara, like with the Santa episode before season 9.
Last Christmas.
Where, like, no matter how, when I was literally going through it and going like, again, maybe I misread it or whatever, and just got to the end and went, no, they literally wrap it up. Like, the big solution to the episode is it's a dream within a dream, and Capaldi finds Clara old-aged, and then just when the episode genuinely feels over, it's like, nope, there's another dream. And you're like, well, the first time you actually set up that Clara didn't want to wake up yet. Like, everyone found out they were in a dream, and then everyone accepted it woke up, but Clara didn't want to wake up. So Capaldi only got to her
too late,
when she woke up. Whereas to then say, no, Capaldi was in a dream the whole time, and he's fine, and she's not old, is like, there's nothing in the episode setting that up whatsoever. So it's clearly a last-minute retcon.
Yeah.
And then after the entire episode running on the plot logic of Santa clearly not being real, and that being their sign of a second dream, they have the little tangerine at the end to be like, ooh, was it a dream or was it real? And it's not like Wizard of Oz, where it's like, of course it was a dream, that makes the bucket thing make sense. That makes everyone being the same characters as before make sense. But it's like, no, if Santa is real in this universe, and is Nick Frost, and likes tangerines, but that was a clue you're in a dream, then none of this makes sense. And you're all still in a dream, and in this logic, dreams kill you. So that doesn't work at all. Like, yeah, it's just clearly like no, that kind of flips the entire thing on its head.
Damn it. Yeah.
But it's stuff like that where it's like, yeah, but he wanted Clara to stay in as long as she wanted to. So
well,
behind
no,
the scenes,
I'm pretty sure he was happy to write her out at the end of series 8. It was her decision to come back for Christmas. Then it was like, okay, you're gonna leave this time, Jenna Coleman? And she was like, yes. Until she said no.
Yeah. By Clara, the actress, but
yeah. And it's a real different thing between like something like that and at the end of season 10, Bill dying and then going off on her own with Heather, only to return in the Christmas special. In the interview, Moffat says that he just hit like a brick wall where he didn't know how to progress things and just sort of started writing Bill again, which is how we sort of got testimony the way it is.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's not undoing it. And he just thought that, like, as the most modern of companions, it would have been a waste for the first Doctor to not meet and have those sensibilities clash. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean,
beyond that, I would say, like, it's really good that we got that scene where she's asking the Doctor what he's running towards rather than what he's running away from. Because, like, that's consistent with Bill. That's the sort of questions she asks.
yeah.
And it just gives a great scene of, like,
I forgot that's where. I mean, it's probably from other things too, but I forgot the whole run towards something, not away from something.
I'm pretty sure that's the only time it's been brought up. Because every time it's been like, oh, he's running away from, like, the hybrid, he's left Gallifrey because he was bored, or there's always an implication of, like, massive trauma or fear.
Yeah.
But this is the only time I think they've said that they've wondered what did he leave Gallifrey to look for?
Yeah.
Because saying he ran away because he was bored is very ambiguous. This is trying to give, like, meaning to his journey, kind of like the long way home to Gallifrey thing, and I think that's really cool. And again, it really works that it's the first Doctor wondering that when the 12th Doctor has become that person that he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
It's like the circular nature of Moffat and his writing just really, really resonates with me.
And that's what I was saying to. Well, unless I'm saying it to you, I was saying it
To someone.
When I rewatch this stuff, I think we firstly have we do have a sense of rose-tinted glasses.
Yep.
In that they're not the direct season, so we're not sitting there going, it's clearly messy in the vault, just get it over with. We're watching in hindsight where we can skip episodes we don't really care for and lose no context because we already know what happens and we can just focus on the stuff we like and then go, what? Like with Capaldi, it's like, well, which Doctor is my favorite? Well, let me list all my favorite episodes and then let me tell you which one of those is my favorite, and that's pretty much my favorite Doctor as a result. Like, I like all the Doctors, but the convention dialogue stuck with me so much that I just love Capaldi more than anyone else now. And it's not necessarily because he had the best run, but just the best episodes of my best episodes list.
Yeah.
Like, stuck with me because of that.
I think I look at it more simply of, like, what scenes have really stuck with me rather than just episodes. And, like, I constantly go back and watch, like, Capaldi scenes. Like, don't get me wrong, I really love David Tennant as a Doctor. I really love Eccleston. I think Eccleston was better than Tennant, I'm gonna be honest. But I don't really go back and watch the scenes. I definitely don't go and watch Matt Smith's scenes because there's very little substance there.
Yeah, see, I find that interesting because even with like, I find the Rings of Archetype such a forgettable episode, but when I watch, like, best of Doctor Who scenes, Rings of Archetype, just that song gets to me now every time. Just like, I'm not even sure it's a great song, but just
the stuff that the Doctor's saying and Clara giving up the leaf is pretty damn good.
Yeah, and the child just singing "Wake Up." It's just like, but I think it's because it's in that compilation of, like, best Doctor's most heartfelt moments. So it's like, it may not even be that song or that episode, but just that moment in amongst all this Doctor emotional weight is just like, that weight has now been connected with that song to me.
Yeah.
So, like, it's back and go, I love that moment, despite would have hated it at the time.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it is just like, well, we're heading up to Day of the Doctor, and, ooh, the Doctor's mentioned how he walked away from the last great Time War. Ooh, pathos. Thank you. I'll have some more, please.
And there's probably a part of that. It's like, Yeah,
It's like
just like
getting
all
these member berries of like, I'll latch onto this thing because it relates to this other thing that I care about
yeah, and
significantly.
that's maybe the worry of like some of the Chibnall stuff now is like it's all that. It's like, hey, remember the dude? And it's like, yeah, that's nice, but like you've gotta you can't just hit the thing that I had an emotional beat with. You've got to hit that emotional beat. But
Yeah.
even then, please find a new way to do it, or that emotional beat will lose its impact.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what Moffat was good at. I think at the end of the day, like the we have a lot of we had a lot of problems with the individual small decisions. But I'm now looking back and just going, every era had that. Every Doctor Who thing ever has just had a mix of ideas and things, and not all of it is going to land or be what we wanted it to be. And I don't say that as like, oh, it wasn't what I wanted, so I hated it. It's like, there's just going to be a lot of like production schedule stuff and odd choices and things that they do because the Doctor is strange. And sometimes it will feel too silly or too confusing or too whatever. And because it's the current thing, we go, oh, well, we don't want that being the thing that represents the show. People will think it's childish. And then we get to the current era where it's like, I think that's where like the timeless child thing bothers me because of all the exposition of that. I would love to think that once the era is over, I'm going to look back and go, you know what? Timeless child, they took a swing at it, interesting idea, didn't pay off, whatever. But I can only do that once it's past it, and I can look at it in the bubble and go, I didn't like it, didn't care for it that much, so I don't watch it as much. Or I just go, I like that moment where the master did this, and I remember that fondly, so I tend in the back of my mind that was half decent. Like, I love to think I can do that kind of thing, but it's really hard to do that when it's like the season ends with Timeless Child, and it's nothing but exposition, and you're sitting there going, if anyone watches this, they're just gonna go, oh, okay, or go, that's a nice idea, but where's the payoff? Or, oh no, it'll totally pay off, and then get disappointed next season. We don't know. There's just so many dangling things.
How does that make
like,
you feel, Doctor? Angry.
Yeah. And it's like, they're easier to skim over when there's more content or more recent content to compare. Whether it's better or worse, we can either go, well, then Davies picked it back up again, so never mind. You know, that was a small blip when you really look at it. Or, well, it got even worse, so you know what? Now I'm looking back and Chibnall had some good ideas. Like, whatever it is, it's just easier to do when it's not the current thing making me go, oh, this is what we're working with? Okay, I'm not sure where this is going.
I wonder if there's some value in the fact that in the Chibnall era we have like Jay's video that really helps highlight the bigger issues. Whereas during Capaldi's era we didn't really have that, so we were sort of going through it all piece by piece and going like, well, what's not really working here? This, okay, and really sort of just getting lost in it, like you've said. Because like, what are the real videos that came out during the Capaldi's era? I remember the Council of Geek reviews, and that's really it as far as like the discussion of the season goes. And I wonder if that's in part just due to the fact that it was kind of solid. Like, not great, but it wasn't destructive.
I'm sure there were like certain videos on like Capaldi not necessarily being the most consistent Doctor, but again, that's where I come back and go, I still feel like there are problems with I think because we were used to having a more younger, charming Doctor, there were certain things that Capaldi did that I remember at the time feeling like this feels like it's written for a younger Doctor, like the whole guitar on a tank thing. I look at it and go, that fits for me. Like, I don't mind it at all. I think because I got used to it. I think that's the other thing. Revisiting stuff allows you to adjust in a way that a first watch is like.
It's the midlife crisis doctor. And
yeah,
I
and also,
I like Council of Geeks sort of interpretation of that, of like it's a very cruel man suddenly shifting radically in the other direction to try to be lighthearted and fun, to then swinging slightly back and finding like the happy medium between the two. Like he still plays his guitar because he enjoys it, but he's teaching at a university and he's given like amazing speeches on life.
And that's kind of the trick, is like, I remember in Season 8, they were talking about how they're going to have a darker Doctor. And then by darker, that they just meant he's
angry like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, he's got some angry eyebrows. And it's like, so as Season 8, I was like, I thought we were going to see like a evil Doctor. And then it was kind of disappointing. Then like Season 9, they have the guitar on the tank, and I was like, okay, now this is too silly.
Yeah.
Because they completely, like, it was jarring. But now that I know it's coming, it's harder to be jarring. In its place, I now recognize the themes behind it. So it's harder to recognize the themes when you don't have the full picture. But now it's like, oh right, yeah, he spent Season 8 brooding, and then when Season 9, I think I'm gonna die, it's time I be the Doctor a bit more. And yeah, there's just certain things I read differently now.
Yeah.
But I come back to something like Last Jedi, people were defending on, but the themes. I'm like, well, this is where Capaldi shines. Is I feel like Capaldi's characterization might be a little wonky, the plots are a little wonky, but the theme is just strong. Like there is a consistent character arc theme running through the 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Whereas like Last Jedi, I look at and go, the theme, that people seem to think the theme is like learning from your mistakes. But I look at the rest of the film and think...
they only say that because Yoda says that.
Yeah, because it feels like the kind of thing you say as a thematic statement. But it's something Luke seems to learn, which puts him on the character arc he already went on. Like, if he fell off the wagon, just for Yoda to go, remember, you weren't this. He's like, oh, right, yeah, sorry. And
I don't know what came over me.
Yeah, it makes it seem like a weird little blip that took such a strong catalyst to make him want to kill Kylo, but then such a weak sense of motivation to just go, yeah, stop doing that. Then, like, does one thing to stop Kylo, even though Kylo is the reason he turned in the first place. Like, he's like, I feel so bad that I tried to kill Kylo that I'm gonna isolate myself on an island. But you know what? Yoda's right. I'm gonna go threaten him, or not threaten him, I'm gonna go tease him and make him angry, and that'll go help some people, and then I'll die.
Hey Kylo, like, you suck. You suck, and I'm not really here. I know I was wrong, and it's all my fault that you're a terrible person, but I'm not gonna come and try to reconcile those issues. Genuinely, like, give me 5 minutes with like Rian Johnson back in like 2016 when he's directing this, and like I guarantee you I'd make a better product of like Luke actually goes to Salt Planet. They don't immediately fire on him when he comes out of the cave. It's Kylo goes, no, I'm gonna go kill him myself, and while he's down there, Hux is just like, okay, now everyone fire on Kylo, and then we just have Luke use the Force to stop all the lasers of the AT-ATs to protect Kylo, and that could be like his moment of like not redemption, but you're on the path to being a better person because of your problems. And it's that strain of stopping all those bolts of energy from the AT-AT that causes him to like be pained, and potentially you could kill him from that, because like that's pretty powerful, Luke protecting someone.
Yeah, and it's like, sure, he's protecting the other people, but it makes it seem like the only thing he needed to do to redeem himself was not in any way try to take back what he did with Kylo, but just be there, just show up. And it's like, Same with
But
Ray doesn't learn the lesson. It's like if Luke is going, oh yeah, I wasn't teaching Ray properly. I was so grumpy and hurt by Kylo that I pushed Ray away. Then by showing up, he should be teaching Ray something. And I suppose they tell her that Luke showed up, but she doesn't see it or learn anything from it. She doesn't hear Yoda's speech. She's just like, I lifted some rocks and everything's fine again. Like, Ray didn't actually contribute to that theme at all. There's nothing Ray learned apart from, like, even she makes the joke, you know, the Force is just lifting a pile of rocks. And Luke's like, it's far more than that. And then she's like, nah, I lifted a pile of rocks and saved the day. Like,
Right.
there's just something really wonky about that.
Yeah.
The film doesn't actually lead towards its main character doing the thing. Like, nor does it, you know, in the King Triumph way, nor does Luke show up to apologize to Kylo while Rey, I don't know, like sneaks past him, or even just like Rey goes and fights Kylo, and Luke's like, I can't, not that I can't confront him, but like, if I go fight him, that's just gonna aggravate him further, because I'm the reason he thinks we're all cruel. And if I go fight him, it's just gonna, like, I'm now gonna try and kill him, am I?
That's why I think my version has some like benefits to it, because like if Hux shoots at Kylo and wants him dead, do you think Kylo is really going to care about stopping the resistance, or is he going to go back and deal with Hux and his insubordination? I was like, that's a good way to get your antagonist to retreat, but in a way that will then in the next film position them in a higher way. Like he's not taking shit from his subordinates. He's going to be cruel to have that respect. But also, like, before I completely forget this, like, and I don't think I've ever said this to anyone, but like, I'm a very visual thinker in that, like, when I picture Luke stopping the lasers, it's like, that's when you get your binary sunset moment of like, the lights hurtling towards him would resemble like one of the suns, and in the background you'd have the actual sun on the sand of the Salt Planet. So it's like, you've got your binary sunset imagery, in the foreground is Kylo, and you just see Luke reach his hand out to try and stop that.
Like, what I was picturing was like a weird pan rotate shot, you know, like the Avengers thing?
Yeah.
But like Luke literally like spinning around Kylo, blocking all the bolts with his lightsaber, like basically how the dust explodes and you can't see anything. Except Kylo was standing there like, I was going to kill you, but you just like saved my life in every way possible. Like you're spinning around me saving all these bolts. And Kylo is just so shocked that he doesn't think to save himself nor attack Luke. And then it's like Luke turns around and goes, sorry Kylo, and then like vanishes. And Kylo's just like, firstly, I don't know what to do with that because it conflicts with my personal view that they're just blatantly bad.
Yeah.
And then B, he now has distracted me and the rebels got away. And now he's kind of still torn for the next movie, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah. I think you can do it both ways. I think you can have the you start off with one bolt of energy, and say that's Hux pushing the trigger and going like, I'm gonna kill this kid because he's been nothing but a thorn in my side since the start of this film for some reason. And that's when you get your binary sunset imagery, because it's probably a lot easier to do it with a single bolt of light, but then you can have the whole, oh, he's stopping all of them. And that's the thing, Kylo stops one blaster shot in TFA. Maybe that's where he learnt it from Luke.
I guess this is though my bigger point in all of this, is that like when people say, oh, the theme is learning from your mistakes, what mistake does Rey make, and how does she learn that at any point?
Well, like people would say that not every character has to relate to the theme of the film. They can have different things. Yeah, no, I'm not defending it.
Yeah, it's and I feel like they also should, but
yeah,
like sure, Hux
even tangentially.
Yeah, or even like counter the theme. Hux doesn't necessarily need to learn a lesson, or Rose doesn't need to learn a lesson. But if they are one of the main plot threads, then at least like you could still have Rose.
Rose.
If it is like a,
It's Finn who would go through like the arc that has the theme of failure, and Rose would offer a perspective on his conflict. That's the ideal version.
You could even expand with like have it set up that Rose is so caught up in her hate. Like I hate all these rich people. I hate that my sister died. And Finn's like, I'm gonna save myself for the resistance. It's the best thing I could do. And she stops him. And instead of being like kissed as the thing behind them explodes,
Oh, that was fucking weird.
Finn actually go, you realize you just killed the resistance. And she's like, oh, but I was trying to save my sister. And he's like, your sister's dead. Yeah. Like, you just have Rose spend a moment to go, I'm sorry, I was so caught up in what I was doing. I just didn't think. And then Finn go, I get it. That was me once too.
Ooh, actually, no. I think even better than that. Finn, throughout the film, is so determined to leave the Resistance and go to Rose that at the end of the film, he's convinced that if he flies his speeder into the cannon, that'll stop it. What you do is you change it, so instead of Rose sort of crashing into him and flinging him off his course, you have Rose nudge him, and she goes into the cannon, doing the same thing as her sister did at the start of the film to save the Resistance, and then that motivates Finn because he's like, oh no, another person has killed themselves when I'm being selfish. Oh fuck, no, that doesn't even work because he's flying towards the cannon. But like, oh no, okay, maybe you spin it of like, he was so caught up in himself that in this moment, you would try to spin it as like he's still he still doesn't have the full conviction to kill himself for the Resistance. So he sees someone who he's had a bond with over this film give their life for a cause worth fighting for, to protect the people that they care so much about, that he then picks up that mantle and is willing to fight for them finally. After 2 films of having that exact same fucking arc.
And I think that's, at the end of the day, like, why I'm now appreciating Capello's era for the themes. It's like, even if you're, like, I hate it when things are dependent for themes purely, because it's like, your character and plot should still hold up. You can't just say, but there's this theme, and that's what it's about. It's like, yeah, but how would the characters and plot feed into that? But it should be like, your characters tell you what you're going to work towards. Like, what do they care about? What do they want? Then you've got the plot that says, all right, what is it about? Like, it's who is it about? What is it about? And then it's like, so if you go, I've got a character who wants nothing more than to eat the... actually, I'm going to use the How I Met Your Mother thing. He wants to eat the best burger, right? It's like, then the plot, it's like, okay, well, you can't just eat a burger, because that's really easy to do. The plot is that you've got this event where he has the best burger place in the world, and it's gone. So he has to go on a journey to find that burger place again. But then you go, okay, well, but who cares? Like, sure, he wants a burger, he's going to go find the burger. Okay, fine, that's an average plot, that's nice. But the theme is he's lost his job, he felt like crap, he's after the burger to, like, renew his sense of pride. Like, if he can taste that burger, he'll feel good again. And that's all he has left. And the secret, like, source in it is that Barney has been going on the entire time about this new branch of the bank that he works with. And Marshall's wife is going, I hate this bank, you stupid, like, you're all corrupt. And literally by the plot's own logic, they run into where they think the burger place is, and it's replaced by an ATM from that bank. And just when it's like, God damn it, I hate this bank so much, Marshall goes, actually, Barney's been mentioning that bank because I'm so desperate for money, I'm so, like, I've lost my pride, I need a job, I agreed to work at that bank. And so the theme isn't necessarily just the burger. Like, why are we telling this? Because in the grander scheme of things, Marshall needs his pride back. And he's got a job again, but he just can't admit it. And it's like, if you just had that, if you just had, the theme is Marshall gets a job, but it's like the plot doesn't have anything to do with that, the character desire has nothing to do with that, then you don't really have a strong theme.
Yeah.
Like you need all three working together. But when I look at Capaldi's era, it's like there's some weird choices every now and then, but the character, the
There's
plot,
at least
the theme,
one per episode.
yeah. And there's a shining theme that does connect things that otherwise might, on their own, be a bit strange. Yeah.
Oh fuck, I am really clawing this duel back from like the brink of defeat. Woohoo! I'm the greatest. Just beat Bandit Keith. In a shadow duel, with 400 life points left to his, what was it, 3,700 at the start of the turn? Literally bricking it.
How do I, because the video like has audio coming back at me, I switched to chat only, and now I don't seem to be able to turn it off.
Wait, what?
So I don't have the actual video footage. Oh, there we are. Oh, that seems to have done it.
I'm sure what you're saying makes sense.
It's like you said, the video audio is like 5-second lag.
Oh yeah, that's yeah, that's just a stream delay, and the fact that like we're talking on Discord means what you're hearing is in real time, but what plays on the stream is delayed. Yeah.
Yeah, which is alright. It just means I changed it to chat only so the audio didn't feedback.
That's, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense then. We got there in the end.
I hate my own voice so much.
I'm getting used to mine, or more, I don't hear it, because I don't listen back to my streams. So like, if people hate my voice, and I know I definitely do, I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah. I don't.
Oh no, Kaiba's come into my room.
Which game are you using?
I'm playing Nightmare Troubadour, which is on the DS.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm only playing it because a friend mentioned it, and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. No, I think the way he described it was like, it's the same friend that you spoke with last week, Jack. He got to a point where like he was dueling Joey, and every time he went to like he won, the game would crash, and I was just like, oh, wouldn't it be really funny if I made it past that point? And I did. And he's much further in now, just because like I play this once a week, he plays it every so often.
Yeah.
That's fine. But now I'm sort of stuck playing this game because I don't want to be playing EDOPro for a while, because I'm just really burnt out on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is fueling my nostalgia, love of the franchise kind of thing. And it's very low stakes. It's like, I'm not gonna see a single Drytron, Tri-Brigade, Dogmatica, Shadol player in this fucking game.
Yeah.
But like, it's really relaxing.
Yeah.
Well, it's both relaxing and also I get to talk to people while I do it.
Yes.
Even just talking to like chat, because I was talking to Bardo, who was just messaging and stuff and responding to that. before you arrived. That just like, I find that if I can just get into a rhythm, I just don't know how to stop talking. The point where my voice actually hurts a little bit now. Because I've been talking possibly too much.
Sure.
All day. But that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Yeah. I find that's the same thing. Like I used to be told I talk too much, but it's like I always thought of it as I get excited about a lot of stuff, and then I don't know where to stop.
Also, the thing, like,
which I think is a definition, but sure.
I mean, because a lot of the conversation was about like the Chernobyl miniseries and just gushing over scenes from that, or talking about Marvel, and now Doctor Who. It's like these are the things that I know a lot about. But it's very good to just be able to spew onto the into a stream just all my thoughts at any given time.
Yeah. It'd be hard to be someone who doesn't talk a lot and then be like, you have to do a 2-hour stream or even a video about anything, and not know what to say, because it's like, yeah, you have to just be able to trust that you're like, I just have a bunch of thoughts and here they are. I hope they're coherent.
I don't really care if they're coherent or not. Because like, I don't remember the exact thing, but like I started the stream going like, oh hey Bardo, how's it going? How's work going? And he just responded just like, he works at like a gym. Is about as much as I know about the guy. And he was just saying it's like, because he works overnights, it's very quiet, so he gets to use like the gym equipment and still get paid for it. And then I just went on this long diatribe about like, yeah, always do the things that make you happy. And just like happiness should be like the pursuit of everyone. And then I went on to talking about like media for like an hour and how it's terrible.
We can make as much conversation about stuff we hate as much as we can make conversation about stuff we love. It just has to be a strong enough reaction.
For fuck's sake. Yugi just tributed my monster to summon the curse of dragon.
Oh, hang on. I just remembered there's something.
He'll never get over this mystical elf.
I remember the good old days where, like, I remember back when Dragon Capture Jar seemed like a really good idea.
Here's the thing, when Dragon Link was like the best deck of the format, there was a part of me going like, what if I sided in like some Dragon Capture Jars? Like, I know it doesn't work on Link monsters, but it would have been a bit funny.
Yeah. Oh, right, yeah, Link's there. Why? Oh, because they don't have defense,
Yeah. Which is a thing that I don't like about Links, because I reckon it'd be really interesting if like you can switch it to defense mode, and that changes where the arrows point to.
Well, it seems like a design flaw to me. I know that's the point of them, but to even not have things that other cards have, like stuff like Gravity Bind doesn't affect ranks, or like they should have just kind of done a thing where it's like, yeah, rank and level are kind of the same.
Just in this context, they'll be.
One or not the other. Like they can make new cards that say we only affect rank, but don't have entire sets of cards. Be like, they don't affect anything that comes out after this.
Instead of calling it Gravity Bind, call it the Anti-Gravity Bind.
Well, that's the thing though, you then need a separate card for it. It's like, that's when we get the revamps for new things.
Well, yeah.
Same because they're links.
Yeah.
It's like we the old thing the same way. Like, I don't want a link version of the what's the Kazajan Suijan? What's the Gay
right.
Guardian?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want new versions of those. I just want there to somehow either be support or, yeah, less
You know,
wacky competition for. Oh, you can't use
I'm
those.
trying to think of like how you fix them or make them work, and
Yeah,
I'm really just like um thinking of the idea of like with monarchs, they've got the tribute summon monster, but they've all got these smaller versions, the squires,
oh,
that relate to the bigger ones. That I'm like, maybe go that sort of route of like you've got these squire-like monsters that can count as like 2 tributes of that specific attribute.
yeah. Okay.
Like I'm just
I suppose.
envisioning like they say you have I don't know a field spell or a spell card that's like reveal one Kazejin, Suijin, or Sangan the Thunder from your hand and special summon one I guess no, I don't know how it would work, but you'd have to be really super specific of like special summon one monster that specifically lists that card in its text or something.
Yeah.
And that would allow you to get these squires onto the board really easily. And the squires would have like, you can use this as 2 tributes for that monster kind of
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just really turbo it out.
Maybe that's what all tribute monsters really need is just something to tribute that doesn't take forever.
Well, the benefit is like there aren't that many tribute monster decks these days.
Yeah.
They've really figured that one out.
That's, I think, the hardest thing about them releasing like links and such. You kind of reach a point of like, yeah, we have tribute monsters. Well, no one uses those. Well, we got synchro monsters. Oh, they're all right. But now we have XYZ. Like we kind of felt like they weren't. What was Pendulum before that? Like it's sort of. It doesn't. You end up with too many mechanics rather than fixing
Yeah.
the tribute.
Well, it's too many mechanics that exist at the same time. Because, like,
Yeah.
Like, synchros are fine in their own context. Xyz are fine in their own context. Pendulums, especially, are very fine in their own context. In fact, it feels like in pendulum format, it's just a completely different game. And then we revert back to links, and it's like, how do we balance anything anymore? And that's the thing. Like, I like the game that it has so many flavors to it, but like, it's a fucking logistical nightmare.
Yeah. I don't understand how they design new cards. Just at all, any game. Like, trying to attempt it myself, I just immediately feel like you have to create so many cards just to test them all, and then go, yep, those don't work. And then somehow know that they don't work for the right reason, and then make a bunch of new cards that you hope then work for that reason, only to find you got a whole new problem. Like, it's so hard to balance things no matter what you do. But especially to go, like, again, to use my thing of like, oh, I have different colors. And it's like, well, that's fine. But how do I balance those colors? Well, I'll give every single color the same year. You can't go above 7 in any stat. So that way, we immediately know the strongest is all 7s. And then I was like, well, the only trouble with that is then highest number wins. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's give them some like qualities. That way, it's not necessarily just I play a 7, I win, but like you have to do certain things to be able to play certain higher cards. So like the tribute thing, it's like you have to have a cost for that. It can't just be pulling it out. And then I was like, okay, well, how do I make sure they're all balanced? I'll just give all them the same thing. So it's really just, do you have the right card with the right trait? As opposed to only certain traits can only do certain things, which is how Magic has figured it out. They're like, only Island can do certain things and Swamp can do other certain things. I don't know that much about Magic, but I know that they've got the different lands so that each area land, like there's mixes now, but it's like, just certain ones are better at certain things.
Right.
You're already going to walk into a certain theme by using a certain type of land. The same way, like, you use a certain archetype, they do something specific. But then, like, even with that, I was like, well, in order to balance them, they all do the same thing. It's just, if you're drafting, then you just want to look for a certain suit in a card game. They've all got the same numbers. You just want the right suit. And it's like, right, well, now it feels kind of too balanced, because what's the point having different suits if just the game is just, if you don't have the right suit, you can't do a thing. Well, okay, well, even in draft form, I want everything to work individually, so let's just give each card its own effect and its own way of doing something, and I just want that card to be the best at doing that thing. Okay, well, then I want to make sure I don't duplicate that with anything. I can't use the same effect twice. I just ran into this thing of, like, they're either all too similar or all too way different. Because then it's like, well, if I give something that only has one stat but has a super insane effect, well, how do I make sure it has an appropriate cost? And then by extension, it was like, yeah, how do I make sure that something with high stats doesn't have a good effect? Do I give it an effect that contradicts it, like makes it worse? Because then you run into the Yu-Gi-Oh thing of, you get a card that looks good, and they're like, however, you must, in order to use this card, you must sacrifice Blue Eyes Ultimate, and its only effect is this. And you're like, oh, Blue Eyes Ultimate is better. And then they're like, well, here's alternative, which is even better. And you're like, well, yeah. So you could have made it even better. You didn't give it an effect initially, and then you gave a lesser card an effect, and then you gave it an effect that pops 3 things at once. Okay, like, where's that? You want to avoid power escalation. You also want to avoid just ruining every future card. It's really hard to balance the longer you go.
Yeah, I can absolutely see the caution there, especially with, like, a new game. But my perspective on balancing for Yu-Gi-Oh is, at this point, just going to be like, I'll see a lot of videos about, like, deck profiles, and they talk about, like, and this deck can put up 4 negates on the first turn with this specific build, and I would just be like, what Konami should do is have, like, a document that has, like, and these are all the cards that this I don't fucking know, Giant Soldier of Stone archetype needs in order to put up 4 negates on the first turn, like all the competitive decks now. And it's like, do you print all those cards that would allow this deck to fulfill those conditions? And then it's a question of, like, yeah, but you could do it gradually and just get every old deck up to the modern standard without increasing the modern cards any further at this point.
And that's a good way of looking at it too. Like, instead of saying, hey, do we release a card that has 4 negates?
Well, not a card that has 4 negates, but, like, if you you have 4 different negate options, and that's not a good litmus test for, like, deck building, just because, like, you have different deck conditions. You have control decks, you have beatdowns, you have mill decks, burn decks, and those don't really give a shit about negates. Generally speaking,
I guess the thing is, when you walk, if you are Konami, you're not necessarily going, we want everything fully balanced. It's like the tier list thing of, we just want it at a reasonable level.
Yeah, you've got the cream at the top, and then you've got the stuff under that, and if you remove the top layer of cream, you've still got a pretty healthy balance underneath that. And as you go further down,
that's where the ban list comes in.
Yeah.
I like your idea of, like, having a little list that's at least, like,
hypothetically, if we were to go this far, what would every card need to become busted?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, actually, how many cards would it take to actually make sure that wasn't overpowered? But I suppose even by that, it's like, if you run into a situation where it's like, hey, if we give something 4 negates, that person wins every time. And you go, well, all right, let's write a little rule.
Appaloosa.
That card's banned, and from now on, we don't write anything that has that many negates. If we want something to have that many negates, we write cards we sell in packs.
Yeah.
that add up to that.
When I
And that's
say this deck can put up 4 negates, it's not 4 negates on one card. It's
oh right.
you've invested so many resources to put up like 4 different monsters or like a combination of 4 different cards on your board
Yeah,
that will then have those negates or whatever.
yeah. That's the hardest one to balance.
Well,
You can't just
yeah. And like that's literally why I just said that I don't think it's a very strong sort of litmus test for this balancing thing, but it's just the general idea of like if you try to bring the old decks up to a modern standard, maybe the game could be better.
Yeah.
Like by all means, and I mentioned this at like the start of the stream, but like this afternoon while I was making like hamburger mixes, for like the weeks to come, like I can freeze them and whatever. I was just watching this video of like, have you heard that Mako Tsunami is getting support, like his cards in an upcoming
Uh,
set?
yeah,
Like,
no, and
right. Well, MBT, the YouTuber, did a video, sort of testing out a few of the new cards. And the sort of walkaway was like, these are pretty damn good legacy support for a deck surrounding like the legendary ocean and those Mako Tsunami cards. That like Konami has the power to make good decks of old stuff.
yeah. And I wonder how they do that. Like, do they have a team testing these cards out? Or do they just reach a point where they're like, they either kind of know roughly what they're going for,
They've got to
and
have
they
a
don't
team.
care if it's coming? Yeah, like is that team? I guess what that team is like. Do they have teams for each thing, or are they just like, this is our team of card makers, and our card makers just make the card they think will sell the most, or is it they each have? Is it like Pixar where they're like, we each have an idea, and then everyone gets to make their set of cards? Or do they have gamers who like we all sit down and we play a bunch and we test a bunch and we
I
sell
think you're
what
gonna
we
find that they've got every they're covering most of the bases. Like
Yeah.
I want to remain the optimist and say they don't start with what card will make us the most money. Instead,
Yeah.
they go what cards would function well in the game in its current state, and then they pick up the best cards from that pool and go like, these are the cards that are going to make us money. So it's kind of like reverse engineering profits.
Yeah. I would love to see what cards they reject.
Here's the thing,
Because
I don't imagine they reject many cards. I'm sure they just shelve them for later.
yeah, that's
Because
what I mean
like
though. Like
when
there's a whole
you've
stack of
made
cards.
like 10,000 plus cards since last
Yeah.
year, you kind of gotta shelf every idea because it'll come up at some point.
Yeah. I like the idea they've got a card. It's just like, are they sitting on a Blue Eyes Skull Dragon?
Are they sitting on another
Yeah.
Dragoon? They've already
Yeah.
released 2.
What's the other one?
It's a new Destiny hero monster that comes out in like the next 4 set burst of Destiny. The issue with it is it's like once per turn you can destroy itself and something, and then during your standby phase you can special summon a Destiny hero monster from your graveyard, and unfortunately it counts as that. So it's like every turn you get to pop something and also then revive it the next turn.
Yeah.
And plus, it's another one of those monsters that you can just special summon the second you get Predaplant Verte Anaconda on the board. So like, if you have a deck that can special summon 2 monsters, you can either go into Red Eyes Dragoon or this Destiny hero Phoenix Enforcer.
Yeah.
And those cards are not healthy for the game. Please stop printing them.
It's very hard at this point because I'm like, I know there's so many like people there's so many cards people want to ban. It's like when they add one more, I'm like, ah, I guess.
But here's the thing, like, I would want to ban cards, but I would also be quite happy to take off like 100 from the ban list. That's not true, but like, you could take off like 50 cards and probably do nothing at this point.
Yeah, see, I know we've had this conversation, like, said that, and I've seen those videos where they're like, here's why everything's banned, and then they show, like, examples of what would happen if they got unbanned, and I'm like,
I should show you the moron ban list tournaments that MBT does, of like, it will take off like 30 or 40 cards off the ban list, then run a tournament where people have to use them in like modern decks. A good example is like, are you familiar with like Yadagarasu at all?
Yes,
Right.
because of the Mo series.
Yeah. Anyway, someone put that in Shinobirds, and it did fuck all.
Yeah.
Anyway, to respond to chat of what cards are unhealthy, Dragoon, Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, I'm really towing the line of like, Verte Anaconda needs more restrictions on it. Let's see, Halki Fibrax got most of the tuners banned.
Yeah. Yeah, stuff like that. It's like, yeah, sure, ban the things that should have been banned and unban
Yeah, and it's
all
like,
the things that they can kill.
it's really interesting to me that like there was the Buster Blader Dragon Destruction Swordsman or whatever it was that locks out the extra deck. That was banned when the problem card was always Union Carrier, and I get that Union Carrier was designed for like the XYZ and the Dragon Cannon and just Union plays in general, but like it lacked the restrictions that would help facilitate those specific plays, that it became abusable. And yeah, no, Ryura's got an absolute point. Jerry Beansman fucked up the meta so much.
Wait, what?
Don't you remember the apocalypse of Jerry Beansman of 2007? When everyone was just like normal summoning him, it was so fucked up. I can't believe Konami would print that card.
Yeah.
Poor Patrick.
I was actually thinking of that. Like, I was watching some video the other day, and they're like, it's the most terrifying beard monster in all of Duel Monsters. And I thought, wow, they say that every season. Like, every new card is the most terrifying, never before seen card. And I was like, man, I'd love to do a duel where I'm like, behold, the greatest monster in all of Duel Monsters.
That card gave me nightmares. That made me quit Yu-Gi-Oh for a good while. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Given to me by my grandfather to smite blue eyes. Bubonic vermin. How do you pronounce it? Bubonic vermin.
I had to buy full power Gladiator Beast just to survive that format.
What? Bubonic vermin?
No, Jerry Beans, man. Just trying to think, what are the other problem cards? Access Code Talker is really annoying. I don't know if I'd call it a problem card at the moment. But that's only because I don't remember what it does right now. It's getting late, I'm tired.
I was saying Appaloosa is one of them, it bothers me.
Well, if you don't want your copy, I'll buy it off you.
Things that bother me are always good in my own deck. It's just going up against them where it's like,
You even made ice barriers broken. Yeah, I can't believe a plant earth monster was the best thing to happen to ice barriers. They got a whole structure deck and it didn't have the same sort of impact. What gives Konami?
Which I found weird, like, they had a really good streak going there in terms of like structure decks you could pick up and...
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I want to go back to the Salamangreat and Rocket. Even the Endymion stuff. Because like, I think the issue with the Endymion structure deck looking back is like, there's a lot of really good cards. There's also a lot of real just crap that no one needs. But like, I would love to see them try again.
Yeah. I do find still at the end of the day it is Pendulum, and like, so it was Pendulum and Spell Heavy, like one single anti-fragrance.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
no, that's not even the
sure.
issue. I'm like, well, maybe put in some like pendulum magicians,
Yeah,
and like pendulum engines into the deck.
yeah,
Because the deck on its own, I believe, your real playmakers were like magical something, or whatever it was
yeah,
called, and then the 3 core Endymions,
yeah,
the new ones, and like that's really
and
the best you could do.
it still was like, bring out your boss monster or die.
Yeah, and like
Like it wasn't like,
the
oh
deck
no, I
was
lost
really good for
Endymion.
that.
Yeah,
I just think there's a lot more you could do, especially if they included like a pendulum engine. Like that's just good spell counter generation,
and this
generally
is like
speaking.
structure itself. Like it's not. I'm
God.
sure there were cards in the booster packs and whatnot that help,
Oh yeah,
but it's like as far as structure decks go, it's like yeah, it needed a little more recovery.
what I'm sort of
Um,
thinking is like, imagine the world where the structure deck came with like, because the whole point is to generate spell counters on your Endymion cards. Like imagine
yeah,
if you got Toon Table of Contents in it, which is just like
yeah,
a play this card, add another copy from your deck to hand, activate that card, and just you can generate up to like 4 counters just with Toon
yeah.
Table of Contents in a turn. Like that'd be
That's
really
really
fucking
fun.
good in a Endymion structure deck.
Yeah,
As just like a taste of the power.
yeah. That's
Unfortunately,
where
we're
I
stuck in the
agree.
era of like, oh, cool, the Egyptian God structure deck came out. Did it do anything? No? Ice barriers. You've completely revamped the deck. Again. Has it done anything? No? Okay. Charmers. I really like Charmers.
Yeah,
But the structure deck was really lacking of like good cards.
yeah.
And
You know me,
that's
I like anything that mixes the attributes together.
if we got an
Like, yeah,
invoked package in the fucking Charmer structure deck, that thing would have sold like hotcakes.
yeah,
Literally, I don't see why they can't do that anymore, because like Endymion, sorry, not Endymion, Alice to the Invoker, Invocation, and Magical Meltdown had like a bunch of reprints up to this point, that putting it in a structure deck just seems like the smart thing to do if you're not
yeah,
that confident in this structure deck sort of selling on its own. And I think it's pretty decent value for money, because you got a lot of tokens and alt art, and just like the dedication to this structure deck as a product, as like an art piece, was quite nice.
yeah. I don't have any of the Alistair, the Invoker stuff. So I'm like, that would be good
It is
to get
quite
it in.
expensive to get Invocation. It's like $35 a
Yeah.
copy. So
The
I'm always
Invoker
really
like blank boosters is always frustrating. So it's like, if it doesn't come in a structure deck where I can just grab 3 copies, I tend not to bother.
yeah. I think that's why we need another Dual Devastator sort of set as well.
Yeah, yeah. That or like that's why the tins are alright. But like yeah, any kind of. I think most of my boxes have come from like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Legendary tins or Dual Devastator. Yeah, it's been stuff where I'm like, oh, I get those cards, cool. I know what I'm getting, and I get a stack of them.
Yeah.
Or even the what's it? The Speed Duel box.
Oh yeah, the Battle City box.
Yeah, like I love
That's
that.
quite
'Cause I
nice.
was like, oh, cool, cards I recognize.
Did you
in
actually
one.
buy one?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh,
I think it,
I literally can't explain it, but like the secret rares in the Battle City box just look so nice. Like getting the god
yeah,
cards in secret rare. I got a Jinzo in secret rare, a Nobleman of Crossout, and I'm just like, oh, this shit's great. Shame
I
about
can't
like
remember.
the word Speed Duel printed in the effect box, but like I can live with that because these cards just look so nice.
I wrote I got in my book. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did end up getting one of those in the end. Again, The other benefit is I always need more boxes. Like the amount of cards we get, you can't stack them in booster packs.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
The amount of booster packs you buy, it's like, well, where do I put them now? Whereas in a box, it's like, good, now it comes with the packaging.
I think that's why well, hang on, no, that's not exactly true. I was just thinking, like, that's probably why I buy, like, 2 or 3 tins each year. Because it's just, like, it's more sturdy than a box.
Yeah, I'm tempted to buy the tins just for the tin. Like, just sell me the box sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't want $50 worth of 15 cards. Just give me the box. Lower the price, give me the box.
But I'm still really disappointed that they've taken guaranteed promos out of the tins.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Yeah.
I remember when we got our Gold Sock tins, it was always really appealing to just, like, go back and buy more because it'd be like, oh, do you want another Nibiru? Awesome. Do you want a Dark Ruler no more? Do you want the God cards? Do you want, whatever the other promos are? Red Eye's Alternative Dragon. And it's like, you're guaranteed to get something of value. Monster Reborn, Raigeki. That shit was great. And now it's just like, good luck getting literally anything because the sets are getting bigger, meaning your ability to pull the cards that you want goes down. And also you're not guaranteed anything to begin with.
Yeah.
So the Megatins at this point feel like gambling in its worst form.
Yeah. And it's like, the only annoyance was like you would sometimes get, like, I feel like I remember getting the tin and then getting, what, 2 obelisks in a row? And it's like when I've already got them from the legendary set, and then I've got them from the, now, I've got them from the, I've got that many gold cards now, like, oh, they sell to me, like, because I've then got the structure, oh no, I don't think I bought the structure in the end, because I thought I had too many gold cards.
I was tempted to buy them. Like, I criticized them to high hell, but, like, just the idea of having, like, a competitive, or not competitive, but, like, a usable god deck sounded pretty decent to me.
Yeah.
But I just never got round to it, and I think it's too late now.
Yeah. Did I get one? I can't remember now. It's at that point. I just can't remember what I got. But yeah, it's like I've just got that many copies. Oh, because I also bought remember I was trying to get the 3 Blue Eyes alternatives.
Yeah.
From the
movie pack. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got that many. Because they came with like a promo Slasher and a promo Obelisk. So I just got like 20 of them. I got like that many Dark Magicians, that many Blue Eyes. That's why I'm sick of the legacy stuff, because I'm like, I literally got 20 copies just by buying all those boosters. And now I'm just sick of it.
See, I find that quite funny, because I think that's got to be one of my favorite sets of, like, possibly all time, just because it's all secret rares. Like, holy shit, just do more of those and I'll buy the shit out of them.
It's a shame that, like, 30% of those secret rares were, what are they called?
Cubics?
Yeah, cubics.
That's the thing, I like cubics.
Yeah, they seem good, but it's the kind of, like, you put them on the field and they immediately disappear.
Well, that's the thing, like, there's really only three good monsters, cubics. It's the V-Jams, the Crimson Nova, and Duja, or whatever his name is. Because Duja is Foolish Burial, Vija has a lot of synergy with the spell cards of, like, there's one that you send, say you send 3 Vijam from your deck to the grave, it increases the attack of the cubic monster on the field by 800 for each. So that's, like, just a plus thingo.
Yeah.
plus 2/4. I'm trying to think of the other things for it. Crimson Nova, at the end of each turn, inflict 3,000 points of damage to each player. So ideally, I think the idea of Cubics is to go second, you attack, and then you burn for damage. And like, it's just like a very strong, sometimes consistent FTK deck. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose this duel. But I'm not that upset about it because it's not a shadow duel, and I'm sort of thinking about packing in soon.
Yeah.
So I might just go until the end of this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I've checked in my box now, and yeah, I forgot that the god cards have that nice spoil to them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's 3 god cards, and then I had Reinforcement of the Army, which, wow, I forgot how good that looks.
Yep.
Split Gaia, the Fierce Knight, which, oh, okay, well, only needs 1. If this is the only card in your hand, you can normal summon that tribute in.
Yep.
I always enjoyed that because one of my favorite cards was the oh, what's his name? The Dark Hero Malicious Edge.
Yeah.
And I always just
Evil
liked that I
Hero.
could summon him with 1 tribute. And he did piercing damage. I've always liked the idea of piercing damage. Never found a deck that just full on just spammed piercing damage. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love the idea of just spamming a bunch of monsters that somehow do like maybe 100 points damage more than whatever your defense is, and they just keep like kicking at you.
Yeah. Metaverse?
Yeah.
Jesus. That's actually a meta card.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, because like,
Wow.
because terraforming's at 1 copy, like, Metaverse is as well, but like, it's just another way to get access to your good field spells if you're playing that kind of deck.
Yeah.
You want to part with Metaverse?
Not look how pretty it looks.
Not even for a Nobleman of Crossout and Secret Rare from the same set?
Ooh, nah.
Fair enough. Because I think I've currently got that in like the side deck of my Ghost Trick deck, because I was like, probably not going to play it, but it does look pretty.
Yeah. I find it near impossible to let go of the secret rares I already have. I could always take on more secret rares, but I can't give one up.
Okay, how about the Secret Rare Nobleman of Crossout for the Silent Magician? That's not a secret rare. An ultra.
Oh, it was so good. So I've also got Union Hanger.
Union Hanger? Oh geez, that's pretty good.
That's not Union Carrier though, what's the one?
Yeah, the Link Monster. Union Carrier, yeah.
Yeah. Still, yeah, it's got the XYZ in the picture. And Dark Paladin.
Oh fuck. In secret?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Man, if I see another one of these Bejeweled boxes, it's gonna be so tempting. Now that I remember that. At the time I didn't know what I had.
Yeah, well I'm looking forward to the next one, which is the GX box.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of waiting to see what they announce is actually in them, because like I really love the GX era, but it really depends on what sort of decks they put in there, because there's not a full roster yet. Anyway, I'm gonna end stream so I can go get water and stuff. Thanks to Bardo and Ryu for coming out, hanging out as usual. I will be back on Sunday, I think. If not Monday, I think. If not, I think. Bye.